Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto was smarter and genius from his childhood part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Walking home through Konohagakure no Sato, Naruto Uzumaki understood one thing: he was utterly alone. Despite being surrounded with people as he walked the streets, the people immediately gave him a wide berth. He heard the whispers, "Demon monster brat." He heard the parents telling the children to stay away. He only had one question: why? Whenever he had spent time with his Gigi, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, he asked why the villagers hated him. But he was always met with the same response: people hate what they don't understand. Originally he thought it was because of his sun-kissed golden blonde hair and his cerulean blue eyes. But he saw others with strange appearances, like the girl with pink hair and emerald green eyes, or that adult with silver hair. When he finally arrived at his apartment, he looked sadly at the door covered in graffiti and words like "Die demon, die." He unlocked the door and he walked into his empty apartment. Locking the door behind him, he walked to the kitchen, opened up a cupboard and pulled out a cup of ramen. After finishing the cup, he took a shower and cried himself to sleep. Next day, Naruto didn't know what he wanted to do that day, so he decided to take a walk throughout the village. He had been walking for about an hour and noticed something that would change him. He was about to walk into a main street when he noticed the Sandaime passing by. He hadn't been noticed by the old man, but he kept watching. He saw that the Hokage got exactly what Naruto wanted: to be looked upon not with fear and disgust, but with joy and admiration. In this moment Naruto came to a realization that maybe, just maybe, if he became Hokage he could get the same type of respect and admiration as his Gigi. He called out, "Hey Gigi!" Immediately all adults turned to him with a look of disbelief and horror. But the Hokage turned around to look at Naruto with a smile. "How are you doing, my boy?" "I'm doing just fine." "May I ask you a question?" "Well, of course. How can I become Hokage?" Hiruzen widened his eyes just a little, then began to chuckle. "How about we talk about this in my office?" Skip to office. Sitting at his desk behind a mountain of paperwork, Hiruzen was smoking his pipe, looking down at Naruto sitting on a chair. "I became Hokage because I was the strongest ninja in the entire village. So all I have to do is be the strongest ninja in the village? Partly, but it's more than that." "What do you think a Hokage is?" "The leader of Konoha." "Yes, but there's more." "Maybe we should start with what you think a shinobi is?" Naruto smiled. "Well, they are cool people who can use jutsus to fight." Hiruzen laughed slightly. "Yes, but they are also people who endure. People who defend those who can't defend themselves." Naruto looked down pensively. "So the Hokage is the one who endures the most? The one who protects the entire village so that everyone could feel safe?" Hiruzen looks down at the young boy, astonished at the understanding of the 5-year-old. "Precisely. Then how can I become a ninja?" "Well, I would have to sign you up for the academy, but the minimum age is 6. Naruto looked down at the floor with a sigh. He didn't know what he would do for the next year until he could join the academy. Seeing Naruto's mood drop considerably, Hiruzen tells him, "Just because you can't join the academy for a year does not mean you can't prepare." "What do you mean, Gigi?" "Well, you could train and study at the library." Naruto frowns and begins to fidget. Noticing this, Hiruzen asks, "What's wrong, Naruto?" "Well, the last time I went to the library I was kicked out for no reason." Hiruzen was holding his hands over his mouth with shade over his eyes and a grim look. After a minute of thinking, Hiruzen begins to write a note. Once done, he signs and stamps it. Rolling it up, he hands it to Naruto. "Take this. The next time you go to the library, tell them that it is a government-owned building and they cannot kick out the citizens of Konoha." Seeing that Naruto has a nervous look, he says, "If the librarians still won't let you in, just show them this letter. They'll have to let you in then." Naruto looks down at the letter in his hand, then back up to his grandfatherly figure, and with joyous tears in his eyes jumps and hugs the old man. "Thank you. Thank you so much, Gigi." Hiruzen hugs back the little boy and smiles. "Of course, Naruto. If you have any more trouble you can always come talk to me. I'm going to go to the library now to get some books on ninja. Have fun." The boy closes the door behind him and runs off to the library. Hiruzen stares at the door and thinks, that boy has so much potential and a natural will of fire. I just hope the village doesn't blow it out. 10 minutes later, with Naruto standing in front of the library. Naruto is extremely nervous. But regardless, he walks through the door. But right as he is about to pass the librarian's desk, she calls out, "What are you doing here? I thought I said you weren't allowed in here." Naruto looks up to the woman, sweating profusely. "Well, the Hokage told me that this was a government-owned building, and that you are not allowed to reject Konoha citizens." Naruto tried to stare at the librarian with the most stern look he could manage, but it only looked like he was pouting. Looking down at the young blonde, the librarian sighs, rolls her eyes, and says, "Fine, read what you want. But don't talk too loud and don't mess anything up. If you want to take any books home you have to make an account. Can I make the account now?" "Sure, skip 10 minutes of questions and stuff." The librarian hands Naruto a library card and says, "Here's your card. Whenever you want to check out a book, pass it by me first." With a bright smile, Naruto thanks the woman and looks around trying to find a shinobi section. Once he finds it, he looks through the shelves trying to find an appropriate book. Finally, he finds a book titled Becoming a Shinobi for Beginners. He takes the book off the shelf, finds a desk and sits down, and begins to read. Shinobi use the tools they have access to complete the missions assigned to them by their kage. The largest and most important tool to a shinobi is their chakra. Chakra is a combination of physical and spiritual energies used to create ninjutsus and genjutsus, but also to augment taijutsu. So the first thing any shinobi hopeful should do is unlock their chakra. However, chakra is not an end-all be-all. It is still important to strengthen your body to make physical attacks more effective. Naruto is immediately interested in the book, and continues to read for the rest of the day. Few hours later, Naruto had spent the last few hours reading. He had found 2 more books that he had found helpful titled Chakra Basics and Workouts for Shinobi Trainees. Because the library was about to close, he collected his things and brought 3 books to the front desk to check out the 3 books. Walking up to the desk, he sees a different librarian. He tells her, "Good afternoon, I would like to check out these 3 books." Looking down, the lady smiles and asks, "May I please see your library card?" Taking out the card, the lady scans it and checks out the 3 books. On his way home, Naruto was happy that the lady wasn't mean to him. When he reached his home, he didn't mind how empty it was. He was just happy that he had something to look forward to. It had been a week since Naruto had gone to the library, and he had thoroughly enjoyed reading and preparing to become a ninja. The quietness of the library was a relaxing break from the busy and loud village. He had attempted to unlock his chakra in the past few days, but he was still working on it. However, a major problem he had run into was food. In the workout book it stated that a balanced diet was crucial to growth and development of the body. But every time he went to buy groceries, every supermarket or grocery store either kicked him out before he bought anything or attempted to extremely overcharge him. Naruto was pissed walking through the streets. He had the money he needed, it's just no one would give him a fair price. However, he had remembered that Gigi would help him if he needed it. He immediately dashed off towards the Hokage's office. 10 minutes later, Naruto was panting heavily in front of the Hokage building. Catching his breath, he pushed open the doors and walked up to the front desk. "Hello, may I go see the Hokage, or is he busy?" The desk lady looked up and rolled her eyes. "Of course he's busy, brat. He would never have time for you." Naruto looked down, trying to fight off the tears appearing in his eyes when he heard a voice off to the right. "Of course I would have time for Naruto," Hiruzen shouts. "Anything to get me away from that wretched paperwork." Smiling down at Naruto, he says, "Let's take a walk." Smiling brilliantly, he walked up to the old man and said, "Let's go." Right before they walk out the door, the Hokage turns to his assistant and glares, sending shivers down her spine. She thought, "I definitely just lost my job." Once outside, the old man asks, "What's wrong, Naruto? Why did you come to see me?" Naruto looks down and mumbles, "I need help buying food." Looking at Naruto, Hiruzen is completely confused. "You're going to have to speak up, my boy. I read in a book that if you want to grow you need to eat healthy food, but every time I try to go buy some, people kick me out or raise the price. I came to you because maybe you have a way to fix it." Despite Hiruzen's surprised face, inside he was boiling mad. Yet simultaneously the gears were turning in his head to find a solution. "I think I know what you can do. Have you unlocked your chakra?" "I'm still trying, but I think I'm close." "Then I can't teach you henge just yet. For now I will go with you to buy groceries, but you have to come back so I can teach you the jutsu." Naruto began jumping up and down with stars in his eyes. "Really, Gigi, really?" "Sure. But for now let's go to a market. I'll buy you everything you need." Naruto had turned and hugged the old man. "Thank you so much." Coincidentally, they had stopped just in front of a store. As a test, Hiruzen let Naruto walk in first. Once Naruto had walked through the door, a clerk had shouted, "What are you doing in here? I told you you weren't allowed in. Why wouldn't this Konoha citizen be allowed to shop in your fine establishment?" Hiruzen had asked with a menacing smile. Looking up, the clerk was sweating bullets. Hokage-sama, oh of course he's allowed in here. I thought so. 2 hours later, inside Naruto's apartment, Naruto and Hiruzen were filling the refrigerator with all the groceries bought earlier. Besides all the food, there was a cookbook on the table. Closing the fridge door, Naruto turns around to face the old man. Thank you so much, Gigi. You're welcome, Naruto. I want you to grow up big and strong. That can happen if you don't know how to make your own food. I'll learn how. Hiruzen begins to leave, opening the front door. I know you will. But I have to go back to the office now. Bye, Gigi. Hiruzen closes the door behind him, leaving the young blonde alone. Immediately Naruto sat down to learn to cook. X1 year time skip X. It was 6 in the morning and Naruto had woken up excited because today was the first day of the academy. He had grown to 3 foot 5 inches and he had lost a lot of his baby fat from the workouts he had done. He jumped out of bed and started his workout. He started with a stretch, then continued with 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups. After he took a shower and made a breakfast of toast, eggs, and bacon. By 7:30 he was on his way to the academy. When he finally arrived he was excited to meet his classmates. He walked through the doors, and after finding his room he saw there were 3 people already there. First was a black-haired, onyx-eyed Uchiha near the window. Next was a black-haired kid in a pineapple bun at the back with his head down, sleeping. Finally sitting next to him was a brown-haired chubby boy munching on some chips. He decided to sit right in the middle of the classroom. Far back enough to not attract too much attention but close enough to the board to make sure he could learn. He pulled out a book on Fuinjutsu. He found it easy to understand and was smiling back on how he found it. Flashback. Naruto had reading a book on Konoha history when he saw something. Konoha had an alliance with Whirlpool Village. While that alone didn't catch his attention, the fact that it was made of mostly the Uzumaki clan did. Surprised he even had a clan, he stood up to try to find a book on them. He searched aisle by aisle for nearly 5 minutes before he found a book on the Uzumaki clan. He took it off the shelf and quickly flipped it open. The Uzumaki clan was native to the village hidden in the whirlpools. They could be identified by their fiery red hair. They showed extreme skill in both Kenjutsu and Fuinjutsu. Uzumakis were known for their vitality and longevity. While they did not have a Kekkai Genkai, they did tend to have extremely large chakra pools, some Chunins having as much chakra as a Kage. Excited, he was able to finish the entire book before he had to leave. He was saddened by their destruction but chose to honor his ancestors by taking up Fuinjutsu, finding a book for beginners and checking it out. Flashback end. Eventually more and more students walked into the classroom. At 8:15 a.m. lightly tanned man with a scar over his nose walked behind him, a pale man with a bandana over his light blue hair. Good morning, class. My name is Yumino Irika and I will be your teacher for the next 6 years. This is my assistant Mizuki. I am going to call attendance. As he did, he only paid attention to the names of the kids from clans. Abirame Shino, a black-haired kid with pitch-black sunglasses and a gray jacket that went over his mouth. Akimichi Choji, he was the chubby kid from earlier. Hyuga Hinata, a girl with pale eyes, dark blue hair, she wore a purple jacket with burgundy pants. Inuzuka Kiba, he had brown hair and red marks on his cheeks. Naro Shikamaru, the sleeping kid with black hair. Uchiha Sasuke, the black-haired brooder looking out the window. Uzumaki Naruto here, Yamanaka Ino, a bleached blonde-haired girl with pale blue eyes. Finishing attendance, Irika put the clipboard down and began his speech. You all are here to become ninja. This means that you will train to become Genin. Here you will learn normal school studies, but you will also learn the basics of being a ninja. This includes ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu. Most of you have not unlocked your chakra yet, however some of you have. Would anyone like to come up for a demonstration? 3 people walk up to the front of the class, Naruto, Sasuke, and Shikamaru. As he was walking down the steps he could hear the kids whispering about him. Once he got there, Irika asked, "What can you do?" First Shikamaru went, "Troublesome. I know the Kage main jutsu. When he uses it his shadow begins to thin and connect to Irika's. I can use it to control people's movements." He demonstrates by having Irika follow his movements while he yawned. "Thank you, Shikamaru. Now can you end it?" When he ended it, Naruto went, "Well, I can use the henge and the kawarimi." He demonstrated this by transforming into a perfect copy of the teacher next to him. That's good. That is one of the jutsu you will need to pass the Genin exams. Finally Sasuke stepped forward and said, "I can use Katan, Gokaku no Jutsu," sending a basketball-sized fireball in front of him. Irika clapped for them. "Thank you all for your demonstration. Please go back to your seats." They went to sit down. Naruto smiled, excited for his new year. A few months had passed, and it was winter now. The excitement of being in the Shinobi Academy had begun to fade. All the students avoided him like the plague, following in the footsteps of their parents. He was surrounded by people yet all alone. He also noticed small things from his teachers. They would refuse to answer his questions, and during physical development he could tell they were teaching him the wrong academy-style stances. He felt lucky that he had found a taijutsu book, or he'd be stumbling over his feet. He hadn't found the style that he felt comfortable with, so he learned basic punches, kicks and blocks so he could use them. Sweaty and tired from the workout he had done after the academy, he was on his way home through a forest when he heard a commotion. Pale-eyed freak. You think you're better than us? Worried, he ran towards the noise. When he got there he saw 5 older boys beating up on a girl. Enraged, he called out, "Hey idiots, pick on someone your own size." All the boys turned to him confused. When they saw the small boy they broke out in uncontrollable laughter. "Oh yeah? What are you going to do about it? I'll beat you to a pulp. You sure about that, runt? We are all in our last year in the academy, doesn't matter." With this Naruto charged at the first guy. About to be punched he flipped over him and kicked the boy in the back of the head, causing the boy to fall forward. When Naruto landed, another boy was about to punch his head while another was aiming for his legs. Right before they hit he kawarined with a log. When they hit the log they cursed, "Damn it, the runt knows jutsu." They were all looking for Naruto when one was suddenly axe-kicked from above, getting knocked out. The boys all turned and saw their friend lying on the floor and were enraged. "We'll get you for that, brat." Immediately they all rushed him. While Naruto trained and was skilled, he couldn't fight off 4 boys all on his own, and he was tired from his afternoon workout. After 10 minutes of getting beat up the boys were eventually satisfied and walked away. Naruto stood up and walked over to the girl. Looking down at her, she was still curled up in a ball. He spoke softly, "Hey, it's okay now. They're gone." The girl looked up to her savior nervously. "Why you didn't have T to H help?" "Of course I did. I can't let some boys beat up a pretty girl like you," Naruto said with a bright smile. The girl blushed crimson. "I'm Uzumaki Naruto, you're in my class, right? What's your name?" The girl looked up. "Why yes. And my name is Hyuga Hinata. Well, let's be friends." Naruto held out his hand with a hopeful smile. As she was about to grab his hand a shout was heard, "Hinata-sama, there you are." A man was running towards them. He had brown hair and the same pale eyes, wearing traditional Hyuga attire. Seeing who she was with he quickly picked her up. "Let's go, Hinata-sama. Don't associate yourself with this filth," walking away with her in his arms. Seeing them disappear into the trees, Naruto put his hands in his pockets and went home. He made rice and chicken for dinner and while eating continued to read his book on Fuinjutsu. He needed something light to relax and heal from the beating. He knew it was important for Fuinjutsu, and was the only reason he was still on level 1. After an hour of practice he put his handwriting supplies away, took a shower and went to bed. Next day, on his way to school, Naruto was in deep thought. His fight with the boys made him understand something important. While the way he fought now was enough, in the future he knew it would not be enough. He knew that he needed a fighting style badly. The basics that he knew did damage his opponents, but his limited fighting skills did not have a counter to some very important things. He decided to go to the library to find a book on basic fighting styles that could be used as a foundation for a more advanced style later on. When he arrived at his classroom he saw Hinata, so he decided to sit next to her. "Is someone sitting here?" Hinata looked at Naruto and nervously smiled and no. Sitting down, Naruto said, "You know, I never really got my answer." Hinata nervously pushed the tips of her index finger together. "I would L lover T to be your F friend." With a foxy grin he said, "Great. Maybe we can spar or study sometime." "S sounds like fun." Hinata smiled back. After about 10 minutes Irika and Mizuki came in. "Good morning, class." Most students continued to talk, so Irika used his signature, a demonically big head. "Quiet down." There was immediate silence. Irika's head shrunk back down to normal size. "Good morning, class. Today we are going to be working on chakra. Please separate into people who have unlocked their chakra and people who haven't." 2 groups began to form on opposite sides of the room. On one side were civilians who needed to unlock their chakra, and on the other were the clan heirs and Naruto. Irika spoke up again. "The students who need to unlock their chakra will follow Mizuki, while students who already have will follow me." With this everyone walked outside. Once Irika's group was far enough away he took out a scroll and said, "This is a scroll that can measure the amount of chakra someone has. We'll be using it to test you to see how much you are going to practice this chakra control exercise. A/N. I figure if paper to find out chakra nature exists, this could too." The Chunin began unfurling the scroll. "The more of this scroll that glows, the more chakra you have." After unfurling it for about 1 foot there was a line on the paper. "All of you will pass this line. The farther you pass it by, the more chakra control you are going to need." If the entire scroll lights up, then you have at least Genin level reserves. So please form a line so we can begin testing. It only took a few seconds to line up before the teacher began to test. First was Shikamaru. He sat down and channeled chakra into the scroll, and starting at the end it began to glow, and the light began to climb up the scroll until it stopped about 3 inches past the line. Next was Choji, who made it just over 2 inches, followed by Shino, who got the same. Ino and Hinata made it just over the line. Kiba made it just over an inch. However, the last 2 people surprised everyone. When Sasuke sat down to measure his chakra, the bar filled 9 inches, getting praise from his classmates and teacher. But when Naruto finally channeled chakra into the scroll, it filled up quickly and shone brilliantly, leaving his classmates surprised and Irika sputtering incomprehensible nonsense. Naruto had a nervous smile. Guess I have a lot of chakra, huh? Yeah? You are going to have to learn a lot more chakra control though. Naruto scratched the back of his head with a confident smile. Fine by me. Standing back, Irika began his lesson. Today you all will be practicing the leaf sticking exercise. End of school day. Following Irika. Irika had just dismissed his students, and after seeing them all leave, he gets his things and runs off to the Hokage's office. When he arrived, he asked the desk lady if he could meet the Hokage, in which she let him. When he knocked on the door, he heard her come in. Opening the door, he greeted, "Good afternoon, Hokage-sama." "Good afternoon to you too. Why are you here?" "Well, we were practicing chakra today when one of my students surprised me." "Oh, really? Which one?" "Uzumaki Naruto. When we were testing for chakra amount, he was able to fill our academy scroll near immediately. As far as I know, only Genins or higher can do that. Do you think this is because of his tenet?" "I don't know. I didn't see any red chakra. Do you think we should test him further? Maybe so we can see how much chakra he actually has." He was struggling to do the leaf exercise today. Every time he tried sticking the leaf to his forehead, it would be blown off and incinerated, showing he used way too much chakra. Okay, test his levels again. His levels will only keep growing, so you might have to teach him a higher level of chakra control. "Thank you, Hokage-sama." With that, he left the office. Following Naruto. Naruto was in the library looking through a book on taijutsu styles. Knowing that his teachers were teaching him the wrong katas, he had to find a taijutsu style. Earlier in the book it said that styles had a certain focus, like strength, speed, countering, or flexibility. So he decided to focus on speed and unpredictability. He stopped at a page and grinned. He found a style called Raiken. For offense it had fast, precise hits. But for defense it had dodges and parries. After that he found the complete book, and instead of just checking it, he bought it because he would need it for much longer than the 2-week limit. He immediately ran off to a training ground to learn his new taijutsu style. Winter was ending with 3 months left before the Genin exams, and Naruto was nervous. 5 years of chakra control exercises and he still couldn't make a damn clone. He learned leaf sticking, tree climbing, and water walking. He even tried combining exercises. He could stick leaves to different parts of his body while water walking, and he still couldn't control the minimal amount of chakra necessary to make clones. He read that elemental clones cost more chakra and figured it would be easier for him to do without overloading the clone, but when he went to the library to find a scroll, it was in the ninja section. He wasn't allowed in yet. Naruto always thought he would have time to learn the clone, but with time running out he only knew one more solution. Opening the door to the Hokage building, he was unsure if the Hokage would even see him. Naruto hadn't visited in a while. "Good morning, may I see the Hokage today?" Staring at the boy, the secretary responded, "Okay, go upstairs." "He isn't in a meeting." Scratching the back of his head with a grin, he thanks the woman and runs up the stairs excited. Reaching the door, he knocked and entered when he heard, "Come in." "Hey Gigi." "Ah, Naruto, I haven't seen you in a while. How's the academy?" "I'm second in my class," he says with a slight puff of his chest. With a slight smirk, Hiruzen responds, "Oh, not first? Sasuke Uchiha is ahead of me, but only because he does better in shuriken jutsu and ninjutsu. But that's why I'm here." "What's wrong, Naruto?" Slight concern in his voice. "May you please help me with my clone jutsu?" The old man slowly adopted a knowing smile. Being a Jinchuriki and an Uzumaki is making it impossible for him. "Why do you need my help?" Naruto begins to fidget nervously. "Well, first I tried making my chakra control better, but I kept using too much chakra. Then I tried finding a more costly clone jutsu, but I needed to be a ninja to have access to that section. The graduation exam is coming up, so I figured that either you would know how I could use the clone or be able to find me a jutsu I could use." Ah, Kushina had the same problem. Hiruzen smiles as he begins to write down on a scroll. "I am writing down all the information on shadow clones. However, this is technically a forbidden jutsu, so you have read all of it. There was a twinkle in Naruto's eyes as he looked back and forth between the scroll and the old man. Naruto hugged the Hokage, crying, "Thank you. Thank you? Thank you so much, Gigi." Holding the blonde in a warm embrace, Hiruzen responds, "Anytime, my boy, anytime. I gotta go, Gigi. I have to practice so I can have this jutsu down by graduation." Naruto excitedly runs out of the building on a beeline to the nearest training ground. Reaching training ground 31, Naruto sits down on the ground to read the scroll. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, B rank, seals, clone seal, form a cross with index and middle finger of both hands. Description: user splits chakra evenly to form solid clones of pure chakra that can be used to complete tasks. This makes the chakra cost extremely heavy. Each individual clone has its own mind and chakra system, allowing clones to use jutsu and work on their own. Once a clone has completed its task, it may dispel itself, or the user may dispel the clone. One clone has been dispelled for any reason, including combat. All memories, experiences, and remaining chakra of the clone are transferred back into the user. Extremely useful for intelligence gathering and reconnaissance. Drawbacks: too many memories from clones will cause headaches and can damage the user's brain. If many clones are used, once dispelled, the user will amass the fatigue of all the clones. This jutsu, it's perfect. I could have a clone go to the library while I'm in school. I could learn so much faster. Naruto jumped off the ground and put himself in a steady position. Forming the clone seal with his hands, he closed his eyes and focused on his chakra. Okay, release chakra through my hands and mold it into a person. A perfect copy of me. Give the clone half my chakra and Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto slowly opened his right eye, hoping for the best, but then he let out a sigh. No clones were made. He tried splitting his chakra evenly, but the clone didn't form, though most of his chakra was returning from the failed attempt. Trying again, he tried to pour more than half his chakra, figuring he didn't use enough chakra, but again no clones had formed. Am I using too much? The scroll said half my chakra, but it's not forming. I mean, I have so much chakra I'm physically incapable of forming a normal clone. Maybe the cost for me is in half. Forming the seal one more time, Naruto focused about a quarter of his chakra into the clone. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. In front of him there was himself with the identical clothes, grinning. Oh my God. I did it! The clone happily responds, "You did it." They hug each other, jumping and chanting, "We did it! We did it!" After calming down, Naruto turns to the clone. "Okay, the scroll said that I get your memories after you dispel, so go over to those trees and do something memorable, while I test how many clones I can make." Naruto only made one clone, so this time he made two. Seeing two perfect clones, he made three more. He was about to make four, but then he received his first clone's memory. He held his stomach, thinking, that kinda hurt. I got every memory from me creating him to him stabbing himself in the stomach. Time skip. Naruto was lying down on the ground, hungry and exhausted. It was lunchtime, and he had been trying to find his limit for the past hour. I have to have made at least a few hundred clones. How much chakra do I have? Slowly pushing himself off the ground, Naruto got up to go eat. He wanted to test the limit of what his clones could do, but knew he needed sustenance. With a smile, he began to walk towards Ichiraku Ramen. He hadn't been there in a while, and even though he ate a balanced diet, he figured that today might be a great day to grace himself with the godliness that was ramen. Entering the stand, the cook at the front turned to see Naruto and smiled. "Hi, Naruto. How are you today?" "Hi, I am. Just did some training and couldn't wait for some of your ramen." "Of course. Ours is the best. What will you be having today?" 2 bowls of miso ramen and 2 bowls of pork." "Thank you." I am turned and shouted to the kitchen, 2 bowls of miso and 2 of pork for our favorite customer." They heard a shout in response, coming right up. "Great to see you, Naruto." "Thanks, old man." After slurping down his ramen and paying, he gets up to leave. "Thanks for the ramen. I am Waves, come back soon." Running back to the training fields, Naruto was thinking, the scroll said that clones transfer memory. But does that include chakra and muscle memory? I'm going to have to test that. Making a clone, Naruto gave it instructions. "Go get my sealing stuff from the apartment." With a shout of "Hi!" the clone ran off. When Naruto got to the training ground, he created 10 clones. "Alright, to check for chakra memory, I want you all to do some chakra control. Last time I could water walk while sticking 5 leaves to myself. I want you all to try and get to 6 or 7. After the clones ran off towards the lake, the first clone he made arrived with his sealing supplies. Creating 9 more clones, Naruto gave out more orders. "To check for muscle memory, I want you all to draw some seals. I'm trying to learn the restriction seal for my training, so I want you all to practice drawing it." Watching the clones walk away, Naruto dropped to the floor to begin a workout. There was one major thought on his mind: if this works, then I can learn so much faster. Naruto got ready for school laboriously yet excitedly. Today is the Genin exam and he could not wait to pass. In the past 3 months Naruto's training has improved. The shadow clones combined with the restriction seal allowed him to learn faster than before, while the restriction seal made his exercises much more difficult, especially since he just raised the level to 4. The shadow clones improved his seal speed and chakra control. On his way to school Naruto was excited for the future. He still only knew the Henge, Kawarimi, and Kage Bunshin, so he was hoping that whatever Jonin sensei he got would teach him some elemental jutsu. But when he sat down in the classroom he began to prepare for the exam. When Iruka and Mizuki walked in he immediately began to focus. This exam will be in 5 parts. First will be a written exam, so will you all please get to your seats, Iruka began. As the students got to their seats Mizuki began distributing papers. You will have 1 hour to complete 10 questions on the paper. Once everyone was ready one shout rang throughout the classroom: begin! 1 hour later. Pencils down. As Naruto wiped the sweat off his forehead he grinned, proud of how well he did on the exam. We are going outside for the next test. As everyone left Mizuki stayed behind and collected the tests. Once all the students were lined up outside Iruka gave instructions: I'm going to call you out one by one and you will throw 10 kunai and 10 shuriken. I'm just going to do the rookie 9, Abirame Shino. June 10th July 10th, Akimichi Choji. June 10th May 10th, Harino Sakura. March 10th Hyuga Hinata. August 10th, Inazuka Kiba. June 10th, Nara Shikamaru. May 10th, Uchiha Sasuke. September 10th, October 10th, Uzumaki Naruto. September 10th, Yamanaka Ino. March 10th. After marking down everyone's scores Iruka shouts, next is taijutsu. You are all going to spar with Mizuki. If you can stay inside the ring for 3 minutes you get a full score. After hearing this Naruto sat down under a tree to relax and wait for his turn. He was proud of his score but a little saddened by missing the last 2 points. Though as he watched his classmates spar he grew more and more confident in his capabilities. Uzumaki Naruto, step into the circle. Settling into the opening Raikon stance he took a breath and stared into his sensei's eyes. Hajime. Mizuki kicked off to punch Naruto in the gut. Dodging to the right, Naruto ran back to deliver a punch from the side. However, Mizuki ducks out of the way and tries to sweep Naruto's legs but he flips over it and tries to deliver an axe kick. Mizuki catches the leg and throws Naruto across the ring. Naruto rolls to lessen the impact and glares at Mizuki. He's fighting much harder than before. I might as well release the restriction seal. Holding a one-handed ram seal he thinks Kai. While none of the other students caught it, both the teachers did and were very confused. What is Naruto doing? No one used the genjutsu. Naruto dashes close to Mizuki and tries to hit his face but Mizuki blocks with his left arm and tries to hit back with his right but Naruto jumps high to dropkick Mizuki. However, when Mizuki goes to block Naruto springboards off him temporarily unbalancing Mizuki. With a burst of speed Naruto sprints to hit Mizuki square in his gut knocking him out of the ring. The silence was deafening as everyone stared between the unconscious teacher and the student scratching the back of his head with a nervous grin. Oops. It took a second before Iruka took a breath and focused. Well done Naruto, you may step out of the circle. As Naruto sat down and reapplied his seal Iruka tested the remaining students himself, while he let Mizuki recover. After the Iruka wrote down the scores of the last student he shouted for everyone's attention. Everyone is dismissed for lunch. Be back inside the classroom by 12:30 p.m. Time skip. After everyone came back from lunch Iruka made an announcement. We're going to do the last 2 tests, and if you pass them both you become Genin. We'll call you to a separate room and test your genjutsu and your Academy 3 jutsu. Now first up Abirame Shino. As the numbers dwindled Naruto began to focus. The ninjutsu part I'm confident in. I can even do them with only one sign. It's the genjutsu part I'm worried about. I always struggle to recognize that I'm in one. Iruka calls out, Naruto Uzumaki. As Naruto walks over to the other room he continues his train of thought. To release a genjutsu disrupt your chakra by either stopping its flow for a split second or releasing it in a small burst. A third but risky method is to physically injure myself. He stood confidently in front of his 2 teachers but inside he was slightly nervous due to genjutsu being his worst subject. We will be testing you on how quickly you can recognize and escape from the genjutsu. Mizuki will put you in at a random point in time within the next few minutes. If you attempt to escape before he uses a genjutsu points will be deducted. Ready? Definitely. As Naruto stood in the center of the classroom nothing changed. He looked all around him, and yet nothing looked different. Even his teachers looked the same. He began to look around for the little details that might indicate he was in a genjutsu. It was a few minutes until finally he sees it. The color of the wood was different, and Irika's hair was slightly darker, and his scar was slightly bigger. Holding the ram sign, Naruto closed his eyes to focus on his chakra. Once he had prepared adequately, he stopped the flow of chakra for a moment. Kai. Opening his eyes to smiling teachers, he grinned. Irika congratulated him. Good job, Naruto. Now do the Academy 3. Naruto nervously asked, Am I allowed to do another type of clone? Irika, I guess it's okay as long as it's functioning. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As the two teachers stared bug-eyed at the clones on both sides of Naruto, each clone did a different hand sign and a different jutsu with them. Henge. The clone on the left transformed into a perfect clone of the Sandaime Hokage, Kawarimi. There was now a log where the clone on the right now stood. And in between was a grinning Naruto with his chest puffed out in pride. Once the two teachers broke out of their stupor, they showed similar emotions, but their thoughts were extremely different. Mizuki was furious. The way this is going, my plans are going to be ruined. However, Irika grabs a black cloth headband and proudly states, Congratulations, Naruto, you are now a Genin. As his hand is over, he continues, Come back in a week for team assignments. The grades will be posted on the board that day too. The elated grin that was plastered on Naruto's face as he received his headband was nearly contagious. And as he bounced out of the building, he paid no mind to harsh whispers or the indignant glares. He was just happy he got his headband. And the extreme amount of celebratory ramen tasted better than ever before. But as he walked home, he felt a tap on his shoulder. Hey Naruto, can I talk to you? Turning around, he saw Mizuka behind him. Sure, what do you need? Let's talk in private. Sure. After walking into the forest for a little, Mizuki began. You did amazing during the exams and I wanted to congratulate you for that. With a grin he responded, Thanks Mizuki-sensei. However, Sasuke will most likely beat you out for Rookie of the Year and I wanted to know if you wanted a chance to change that. There was a brief silence as Naruto thought about it but replied, No thanks, status as Rookie of the Year isn't that important to me. There was a slight twitch on Mizuki's face, however. Naruto caught it. Mizuki continued, Well, if you succeeded in the extra test you would also receive 2 kunai and shuriken sets. Naruto squinted his eyes in suspicion. This sounds fake. But let's see. What exactly is the test? Few hours later. Hey Gigi. The old man looked up from his paperwork and smiled. I see you've passed. The smile spread to Naruto's face. Of course, you helped me with my main problem. Except I now have another one. Hiruzen adopted a face of concern. Is everything alright? Getting a little more serious, Naruto began. Well, Mizuki said that there was a bonus exam to guarantee my spot as Rookie of the Year. The Hokage was now confused. There is no bonus exam. I thought so, but what sealed it for me is that he said that the test was to steal the scroll of seals and bring it to some remote area of the forest. That would be traitorous. I know. That's why I came to talk to you. I wanted to ask you what I should do. Hiruzen scratched his chin and thought, What do you think I should do? Well, you could arrest him now, but you don't have enough to prove anything. So what I would do is have me take a fake scroll and pretend the heist is actually happening. But have an A and B follow me out to the meet point and hide. Once Mizuki shows, that would be enough. That sounds like a plan. Inu. A swirl of leaves and a man appeared kneeling before his leader. Yes, Lord Hokage. Follow Naruto to the rendezvous point with Mizuki. If he shows any signs of traitorous activity, capture him. This will be a B-rank mission for both of you. Excitedly, Naruto began jumping. Cool. Now about that fake scroll. Naruto crossed his arms and smirked. Oh, I can handle that. I just need to inspect it for a minute. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. Oh? Let's see what you can do. Swiveling in his chair, he grabbed the scroll behind him and handed it to the fresh Genin. Naruto took it and began to look through every detail. He never opened it but made sure he had a perfect image of it in his mind. Once he did, he handed the scroll back. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A clone appeared next to the boy. That clone then proceeded to transform into a perfect copy of the scroll. Naruto picked it up and strapped it to his back. It should last for a few hours. Hiruzen smiled. I'll begin sending out search parties in an hour. Be at the meetup spot by then. Naruto and the ANBU both saluted. Hi. Hour and a half later, Naruto was nervously pacing between 2 trees. He put some dirt on his clothes to make it look like he was training. I thought he would be here already. It's been 30 minutes since the alert went out. He was going to continue pacing, but he heard a rustling of bushes behind him and a voice call out, What the hell are you trying to pull, Naruto? Irika had emerged from the bushes extremely angry, but Naruto was only confused. What are you doing here, Irika-sensei? I should be asking you that. Irika's anger rose. Playing the fool, Naruto responded, while Mizuki-sensei said that this was a bonus test. All the anger immediately flipped to confusion. What are you talking about? Furthering the act, Naruto began to ramble nervously. Well, Mizuki said that if I learned a jutsu from the scroll that he could make me Rookie of the Year. And I thought, wait. If Mizuki told you to do this, then that would mean. Both ninjas jumped to the side as kunai flew in between them and a voice boomed. Give me the scroll, Naruto. Both ninjas turned to the new person and Irika shouted, do not give Mizuki that scroll. Mizuki snarled, he just doesn't want you to get any stronger because he hates you. The explosively angry complexion turned to a maniacal grin. But do you want to know why everyone hates you? Naruto thought he had prepared for anything Mizuki might say to convince him. But that one question made him crack. Why? Well, you see, a swift chop to the neck from the hidden ANBU sent Mizuki into unconsciousness. Restraining the traitor, the masked shinobi began to speak. Thank you both for helping in the capture of this traitor. Naruto, come with me to report mission success in Hokage's office. Irika, you may go home. Shrugging his shoulders, he dispelled the fake scroll and walked over to the ANBU. Okay, shun us there. Irika looked between them, extremely confused. What's going on here? Oh, this whole thing was a plan to prove Mizuki was a traitor. Irika just stood there flabbergasted as his student, and an ANB just shunned Shin away. Hokage's office. Standing before the leader, Inu spoke. ANBU Inu and Genin Uzumaki. Naruto, reporting mission success. Well done. Inu, go drop off the traitor to T. Naruto, you may go home and the mission pay will be in your account by tomorrow. Naruto did not leave. No, the Hokage was slightly worried. Please don't ask. Is there something you need, Naruto? Tell me why people hate me. People hate what they don't understand. Naruto, while calm on the outside, began to get angry. And what is it that they don't understand? Well, you're a little different than everyone else. Naruto began tapping his foot impatiently. What makes me so different? Well, you see, stop making excuses. Stop avoiding the question, Gigi, and tell me why people hate me so much that people I've never met before tried to glare a hole through me. Why parents still try to hide their kids from me. Why I had to learn a jutsu just to buy food at normal price. Hiruzen sighed. He always did his best to give Naruto some semblance of a normal childhood. He knew most of it didn't work, but he avoided this conversation because he wanted to protect Naruto. Preparing for a lot of angry screams, he spoke. You are the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. All that was heard was a whisper. I figured it out a year ago, old man. Shocked, Hiruzen asked, how? I saw the seal on my stomach. Combine that with the date of my birth and the fact that Biju can't die, and it all fell into place. I'm just angry you didn't trust me enough to tell me. Even after I graduated. Looking down, the Hokage was disappointed in himself. I just wanted you to have a decent childhood. You and I both know that was never going to happen. I know, he sighed. Look, I'm tired and I have to prepare for team assignments, so I'm gonna go. I just wanted to hear the truth from you. Naruto walked out, leaving the Hokage sad and with a headache. Lighting his pipe, he thought, that could have gone better. Laying in his bed, Naruto thought about his day. Not even 24 hours into being a genin, and he already had a completed B-rank mission in his file. And as forced as it was, his Gigi finally told him about the 50-story-tailed beast in his gut. He knew that his grandfather figure only wanted to protect him. But sometimes it is better to know the truth than to be protected from it. With these thoughts, his eyes closed. But when they opened, he didn't know where he was. He was in what seemed to be a library. He was in a large hallway with many different paths branching off, and lining the walls were bookshelves that were nearly empty except for the occasional book or scroll, yet he could envision the collection eventually growing. But far, far away he heard a low growl and a steady breath. Naruto slowly stalked towards the noise, hoping he wasn't alone in what seemed to be an endless labyrinth. Eventually he found a dark cage. He couldn't see inside, so he inched forward. So my warden finally comes to greet me. A gigantic red slitted eye appeared in the darkness. Naruto stared at the eye in fear. And who might you be? A toothy grin appeared next. Didn't you tell your leader you knew about me? Widening his eyes in realization, he points and screams, You're the Kyuubi. Emerging from the darkness was a red-orange fox 1,000 feet tall and 9 swishing tails behind him. At least my container is smart. Scratching his chin pensively, Naruto mumbles, all those books were wrong. Seemingly raising his eyebrow, the fox questions, what do you mean by that? Meeting the beast eyes, Naruto explains, well, all the books describe you as a mindless, destructive beast, of pure chakra, hatred, and malice. But from this conversation alone I can tell that you're not mindless, so I'm wondering if there are other sides of you that I could learn about. What are you after? Kyuubi growled menacingly. Naruto held up his hand defensively, and nothing. It's just I figure if we are going to be sharing a body we should come to some type of compromise. QB became angry. Compromise? You just want my power, not without asking. I know I would hate someone taking my chakra without asking, so I'm offering a deal. Calming down, the Biju lays on his arms. Fine. What are you offering? What do you want? QB shows a Cheshire grin. You could open the seal. Naruto laughs slightly. Nice joke, but you know I can't do that without dying. Is there anything that might improve your quality of life? Something to do other than sleep might be nice. What's your favorite thing to do? Recreational destruction is fun. Of course it is. I'll see what I can do. Through the bars, the QB watched Naruto carefully as he focused on his task, still slightly suspicious of the boy's intentions. His previous containers never gave him this opportunity. They only viewed him as a burden. Yet, as his surroundings slowly changed to those of a field with tall trees he could sleep under and a town off in the distance he could destroy, he was finally hopeful. Hopeful he had found a friend. Panting, Naruto asked, "How's that?" "Thank you." "But where is the cage?" "Look down, I changed it to a collar. I figured if you wanted a bit more mobility a collar would be better, and if I tried to harm you, it would electrocute you." "Fair enough. So what do you want from me? You're really going to help me? I may be a beast of pure destruction, but I do have honor." "What can I do?" "I want to be the best Hokage ever. To do that I need to be a strong ninja, so are there any abilities or jutsu that you could teach me?" "There aren't any of my techniques I could teach you without you learning to use my chakra first. Though I guess I can teach you some of my past containers jutsu." Naruto smiled brilliantly. "Thank you. You know I never got your name." "Name?" The QB eyed Naruto. Naruto scratched the back of his head. "Well, the Ichibi is named Shikaku, so I figured you have a name too. And we can't be friends if I don't even know your name." "Friends? Why would I need friends?" Naruto frowned at that. "Well, everybody needs somebody. And if we're going to be together until we die, we might as well be friends." "Kurama." "What?" "My name. It's Kurama. But don't tell anybody. I need to respect them to know my name." Beginning to wake up, Naruto starts to fade. "I'll see you soon for those jutsu. At least I know where to find you. Or we can form a mind link. Next time, Kurama." One step at a time. A week later, despite Konohamaru being almost a little brother to Naruto, the past week of constantly asking Naruto for training annoyed him. A/N. I'll do that part later because I figure it's time to get to the juicy stuff. Sitting down in the classroom for the last time in a while, Naruto was simultaneously excited but immensely nervous. He knew that most of the civilian-born ninja hated him, and if even one of them were on his team, teammate, or sensei, especially sensei, his Genin days would be hell. As Iruka walked through the door, clipboard in hand, his nervousness and excitement grew. "Good morning. Today is the day you truly become Genin. You will be placed in squads of 3 Genin and a Jonin sensei." Naruto zoned out Iruka's speech, just focusing on praying for good team members. "I will call out your teams one by one. After that you will be dismissed for lunch. Return by 12:30 p.m. to meet your Jonin senseis. Alright, starting with Team 1. As Naruto listened as teams were called out, and his hopes slowly grew. With each team only civilians were called out, leaving behind clan heirs. Team 7. Kiba Inuzuka Sakura Haruno. Kiba paled, scared for his hearing. And Sakura was depressed over being paired with Amut and Sasuke Uchiha. While Sakura's mood flipped in an instant over being paired with her true love, Kiba's mood darkened even further. Team 8. Aburame Shino Hyuga Hinata and Uzumaki Naruto. While Naruto was indifferent to Shino and completely fine with working with him, it was Hinata he was worried about. While her immeasurable kindness was sometimes helpful, it was a gigantic weakness, and if their Jonin sensei didn't fix that, he would. Team 9 is still in rotation, so moving on to Team 10. Akimichi Choji Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino. I'm with the lazy bum and the chubby? I'm screwed. A sob pierced through the room. Oh yeah? Didn't both of them do better than you by a lot? Who's really screwed? Naruto shouted, finally tired of the fangirl attitude. Embarrassed, Ino sat down and didn't speak. Smirking at the interaction, Iruka announced, "You are dismissed. Be back by 12:30. Walking over, he asked, "Hey, if we're going to be a team, maybe we should get to know each other a little better. Lunch maybe?" While Hinata's head slowly began to glow brighter than Rudolph's nose, she squeaked out, "Okay, that sounds productive. Where are we eating?" Shino spoke monotonously. "Well, I don't think ramen is good for your bugs, so maybe we should go to a cafe somewhere?" "That is acceptable." Later, they waited briefly for their sensei when a woman with red eyes and untamed black hair. She wore a red mesh blouse covered by what seemed to be large bandages with a rose thorn pattern. "Team 8 with me," Following their sensei, they were eventually led to a patio with a few benches. Sitting down, the woman began her speech. My name is Yuhi Kurenai, and I might be your Jonin sensei. But more on that later. Firstly, I wanted to get to know you all, your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future. I'll even go first. My name is Yuhi Kurenai. My likes are genjutsu, my friends, and dango. My dislikes are rapists, fangirls who give kunoichi a bad name, and perverts. Especially perverts. My hobby is practicing new genjutsu. My goal for the future is to show the world that genjutsu is just as strong as ninjutsu and taijutsu, and that kunoichi can be just as good as men. Who's next? My name is Aburaim Shino, and my likes are my Kikeichu and my family. I dislike people who hate or kill bugs unnecessarily. My hobby is to collect bugs. My goal is to become the best Aburaim clan head I can be. Those are reasonable goals. Who's next? My name is Hyuga Hinata. My likes are CC Cinnamon Bee Buns, and my family, and she glanced towards Naruto and blushed. Everyone caught it. My dislikes are KK kidnappers and R rapists. My hobbies are F flower PP pressing, and she glanced at Naruto, and her blush deepened. Everyone then showed looks of confusion and concern. Naruto. My G goals for the FF future are to unite my clan, remove the C caged bee bird S seal, and one final glance at Naruto, and she fainted. Everyone, used to her fainting spells, just continued. While Kurenai was thinking, I really need to instill some confidence in her. Naruto was following a similar thought path. I should have tried to help her out of that a while ago. Once Hinata regained consciousness, Kurenai continued, Yo last. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and my likes are training, seals, and ramen. My dislikes are people who mistake the scroll for the kunai, perverts, and bullies. My hobbies are training, trying to invent new seals, gardening, and shogi. My goal for the future is to become the greatest Hokage. Kurenai smiled. He might be able to help me with Hinata. Returning to the task, Kurenai spoke, now that we know each other. This team is meant to be a tracking squad. Seeing Naruto raise his hand, Kurenai motioned for him to speak. I understand why Hinata and Shino are here, but wouldn't Kiba be a better fit for this team because of his sense of smell? Tracking squads tend to be a little weaker in terms of power than other squads. So you are here to bolster our fighting power. Naruto nodded his head in understanding, so Kurenai continued, however, like I said earlier, I might not be your sensei. You see, the graduation exam was only to weed out the hopeless cases. Each sensei has one last test that you must pass to become Genin. And individually the pass rate is only 33%. While Shino remained stoic hearing this, and Naruto grinned in confidence, Hinata became very nervous. The test is tomorrow at 8 a.m. on Training Ground 8. If you pass, I will do my best to make your dreams come true. See you tomorrow. She shined away. While Shino went to leave with the same stoic look, Hinata slumped to the floor, a nervous mess. Naruto ran over and held her by the shoulders. Hinata! Look at me. Look me in the eyes. Once her eyes met his, he continued, you will do just fine. I'll be there and, turning to Shino, wait. Looking between the two, Naruto continued, look, she said that individually we have a 33% chance. Maybe if we work together that will go up. We're a team now. We have to act like one. Hinata felt a wave of confidence, and while Shino didn't show it, he did too. Hinata spoke slightly confidently, okay. Shino walked back and sat down, agreed. But what is our plan? Well, we can't make them too specific since we don't know what the test is. But there are two things we do know. We are going to be tested on how well we can track, as that is our squad's purpose, and that our sensei is most likely extremely proficient in genjutsu. Waiting for their sensei, the three Genin were discussing possible battle formations when a poof sounded behind them. Good morning, Genin. Your test will be to track your target down through that forest before noon. And your target will be me. I will be your target. You will have passed once you've tracked me down and landed one solid hit on me. Good luck. The sensei that was once there just faded from view. Naruto cursed, genjutsu. Any idea where she went? I wasn't able to plant any of my Kikeichu. And my Bibyakugan doesn't go that far. Why yet? Hinata said as she tried to scan the forest. Naruto grinned. Okay, I have an idea. What is it? Shino asked. Well, first I would have my shadow clones surround the search perimeter, then we would travel to the center. From there I can send out a chakra pulse to disrupt all genjutsu within the area. But you couldn't have your Byakugan active, Hinata. Why? For you it would be the equivalent of looking directly into a flashbang. I don't want to hurt your eyes. That would be best, Shino commented. After that the clones would begin to circle towards the center while you two tried to find her. She'll be confused and surprised at genjutsu failing. If the clones find her, I'll know, and we can go there. If not, that means she's running towards the middle where we will be and the clones will be heading. That would help us find her, but how would we hit her? She is a Jonin, Shino states. Scratching his chin, he was trying to form a plan. He knew he could probably outlast her in a fight because of his reserves. But that would definitely take too long. I have an idea, but it's pretty risky. See, I reached level 5 in seals about 2 weeks ago. It allowed me to safely learn the paralysis seal, but the only way to apply it is to draw it on her, which I wouldn't have time to do, or place the seal paper on her. That could stop her long enough to land a hit. I could place it even if she blocks. How many do you have? Only 10. I could make more though. Who holds them? Hinata nervously fiddles with her fingers. It would be illogical for Hinata to have them because Kurenai-sensei would avoid close combat at all costs. Hinata looked a little sad, but Naruto wanted to finish the plan before he cheers her up. I think, Shino, you should carry 7 of them so that your bugs can try to place some. And besides, I can make more if we need. Looking at each other, they nodded and began running to the middle of the forest. Naruto made 51 clones to surround the forest as they ran towards the center. One of them just to dispel and notify Naruto of the complete circle. With Kurenai, it had been 40 minutes since she had hidden in the forest. She had hoped that they would have at least one altercation by then, and 10 minutes earlier when they had passed her by she was nervous that they wouldn't pass. At least they were working together, she thought. Suddenly she felt chakra wash through her. That couldn't be one of my genin. That would take too much, Naruto. He couldn't have the chakra and control for this. She was about to set up her genjutsu again, but she sensed someone coming closer. Deciding to move, she was going to move to a different area, but then she sensed another signature. She kept trying to find an area where she could stay hidden until she realized, I'm surrounded, and the area is getting smaller. When they passed me, they weren't trying to find me, they were trying to trap me. She grinned, smart. She sensed dozens of signatures, but most of them were identical and slowly forming a circle around her. However, 3 that were breaking the pattern and moving directly towards her. I can't run because the clones will stop me. I can't hide because Naruto would wipe out any genjutsu I use. Her 3 genin stopped a few meters away where they could see each other. Well done! You made it, so I have to fight. Without speaking, Hinata charged and Naruto began to run around them. Just as Hinata was about to deliver a Juken strike to the heart, Kurenai pivoted out of the way, but she immediately had to jump away from a few kunai. She was about to try to use a genjutsu to escape when she leaned hard to the right to dodge Naruto trying to punch her head. Quickly spinning to face her, he was about to throw a kunai, so to get him away she kicked him in the stomach. But instead of a flying Naruto came a poof of smoke. One of the clones broke formation. The next time she tried to escape, a swarm of bugs surrounded her, so she seamlessly kawaramied out of there. Damn it, she's gone. Hinata, can you see her? Why yes, she's a little bit and north of H here. As she's really close to Y your clones. Making a clone, Naruto asked. How close? About 3 tea trees away. The clone poofed away and Naruto shouted, let's go. The other 2 began following him. With Kurenai sitting in a tree hidden from the clones, Kurenai was thinking, I know Naruto doesn't have a sensing ability, so unless he can communicate with his clones I'll be safe for a while. Though hidden, she smiled. I know that they can track me down, but let's see if they can actually land a hit. She was about to let the little chakra she used regenerate, but then she had to quickly jump off the tree as a clone kicked down on the branch she was sitting on. I can sense them a bit away, so how do the clones know I was there? She slowly became more and more irritated as the clones kept coming, especially because they were becoming harder and harder to dispel. It's almost as if they're learning from each other. Just after she had popped another clone, she had to jump out of the way of a Juken strike. They're here. At the height of her jump, she saw a clone run to her landing area. Rolling in midair, she went to dropkick the clone, but what it did next confused her. It didn't block, it didn't dodge, it just stood there with its arms ready to meet her legs. And just before she hit, the clone opened its palms and caught her by the feet. Or it was supposed to. Once she hit, it dispelled, though she saw a smirk before it did. Out of the corner of her eyes she saw Hinata charging for another strike. Just before she went to pivot out of the way, she froze. Why can't I move? Stopping just in front of her, Hinata shouted, Juken, Hack Senjuni Sho, and I Sho. 2 strikes hit Kurenai in the leg. Yan Sho. 2 more strikes to the leg. Hachi Sho. 4 strikes, this time to the arms. Juroka Sho. 8 strikes to the limbs. Hack Senjuni Sho. The final 16 strikes hit her directly in the abdomen. Though avoiding all internal organs, though 32 of her chakra points are shut down, Kurenai was still unable to move. The other 2 genin walked up to the 2 kunoichi and Naruto grinned, holding the ram hand sign Kai. Kurenai was suddenly able to move. Returning to standing position, she reopened her chakra points. Paralysis seal, Naruto explains, you wouldn't have been able to move until I released it. Looking upon her 3 genin, Kurenai was immensely proud. Well done! You tracked me down, immobilized me in just under 3 hours. And through it all you worked together as a team. You are officially Team 8. I have to go report to the Hokage, so I will meet here tomorrow at 8 a.m. Shino only repositioned his glasses, though that was a major sign of excitement. Hinata had a big smile on her face, but Naruto was jumping up and down. Naruto hugs Hinata in his celebration. We did it! But then it turned to concern as Hinata couldn't take the excitement. Naruto laid her down slowly on the grass. Looking up to Shino, he asks, we're going to have to fix that, aren't we? Correct. It could cost us the mission, or our lives. Hey, if you need to leave I can stay until she wakes up. I don't have anywhere I need to be, thank you. I have to tend to some of the hives today. Running off, Naruto pulled out his sealing equipment to wait for Hinata to wake up. Minus 30 minutes later, Naruto was practicing a barrier seal when he heard a murmur, where is everybody? Putting his things away he responded, everyone left about 30 minutes ago, but I offered to wait for you to wake up. Oh. Did we pass? Naruto grinned confidently, of course we did, and we couldn't have done it without you. Ah really? Of course, you tracked her down for us. You are an amazing kunoichi. Hinata blushed, Didu why you are really TT think so? The grin turned to a warm smile, yes. And never let anyone tell you otherwise. Her smile turned to a frown, but my C-clan says. He cut her off, your clan is kinda dumb. No offense. Her eyes widened but then her frown deepened, hey. T that's my F family you're talking about. Naruto waved his hands in his defense, I know, it's just they all use the same fighting style, no differences at all, and that makes the Hyuga clan very predictable. That makes me worry for you. Hinata looks at Naruto confused, why? Because the second anyone knows you're a Hyuga they are going to know exactly what you can do and predictability can kill you. Oh, I gotta go but think about this. The next time one of your family members says you are weak, maybe they don't know what they're talking about. Naruto left the training ground leaving behind a pondering Hinata. Good morning, Genin. Today is our first official day as Team 8. The morning after the test the Genin returned to Training Ground 8, and were ready to train. Confidence was radiating off of Naruto so strongly that even Hinata looked confident. Our training will start every day at 8 a.m. You will start with 15 minutes of stretching followed by 3 laps around the forest. Next is 50 push-ups and sit-ups and an hour of chakra control. Finally we will have individual sessions for an hour. For right now I will just be watching just to see your speed, strength, stamina, etc. Now stretch. First they had stretched their arms, followed by their chest, and finally their legs. Once they were done the Genin heard a shout, your laps are next. Jumping up from their stretch Naruto had started out slightly ahead of the others but by the first lap a gap began to form. While Naruto kept running, the others were starting to show fatigue. Naruto completed his second lap nearly a minute before Shino with Hinata a few seconds after, and on the final lap Naruto was able to get a few minutes of rest before Shino arrived roughly 3 minutes later. By the time Hinata had finished hers another minute after Naruto was halfway through his push-ups. By the time she began her push-ups Naruto had finished his and had begun his sit-ups. When Naruto had finished all of his exercises Shino had just begun his sit-ups, and Hinata was halfway through her push-ups. Naruto decided to lay down so that all 3 of them could begin chakra control together. 15 minutes later when Hinata had rested up from the physical exercise, they were all prepared to begin the leaf floating exercise but Kurenai intervened. Actually I'm going to teach you a new chakra control exercise. Tree climbing. Both Naruto and Hinata raised their hands. I already know how. Me too, Naruto echoed. Surprised, Kurenai had to change plans, oh. Then practice while I teach Shino, then I'll teach you 2 water walking. Naruto called out, I know that too. Kurenai was shocked. Water walking was supposed to be a Chunin level skill but Naruto knew it before he became a Genin. An hour wouldn't be enough to teach all of you a separate chakra control lesson so let's try something different. All 3 Genin nodded their heads in approval so Kurenai continued. I'll teach Shino tree climbing while Naruto teaches Hinata water walking. And maybe it will give Hinata some confidence. Come on Hinata, let's go to the river nearby. With Naruto and Hinata, when they reached the river Naruto began to strip, only leaving on his pants and shoes. Hinata began blushing heavily but before she fainted Naruto shouted, No, do not faint on me. This snapped Hinata out of her spiral. Seeing her more focused he continued, This is different from tree climbing so you will fall in at least once. Take off any clothes that are unnecessary so they don't get wet. Slowly unzipping her overcoat, Hinata was embarrassed. She developed a light blush, but this time Naruto had one to match. The mesh armor that she wore under the coat showed that she was much more developed than anyone her age. Let's start on the shallow end. Taking a breath, Naruto continued, the deeper you go the harder it gets. Walking to the edge, Naruto explains. When you tree climb you send a constant amount of chakra to create a suction effect that adheres you to the surface. Seeing Hinata following along, he goes on, the difference between that and water walking is that the chakra you have to send out is fluctuating. Water is always flowing, moving, changing, and you have to change your chakra with it. Stepping onto the water, Naruto holds out his hand. Come. Step onto the water. Use your chakra to increase the surface tension of water enough to hold your weight. Slightly blushing, she takes Naruto's hand and focuses chakra to her feet. She puts her left foot on water, feeling the flow of the water so that she could learn to adjust. For her it felt weirdly comfortable. After adjusting, she put all her weight on her left foot, and fortunately it held, so she put her right foot on the water and let it adjust. After a minute she took a step, then another and another. Soon enough Naruto had let go and let her run around the surface of the river. Standing there off to the side of the river, Naruto watched the girl, with a beautiful smile, enjoying herself, and he could only think one thing, beautiful. And as she ran, almost danced over the water, he continued to look on. But then he shook his head, trying to clear those thoughts from his head. Where did that come from? Hearing a splash, he looked out over the water. He saw Hinata flailing in the center of the river, going downstream, and speeding up. Shoot! He ran down the river after her, the running water speeding him up slightly. But he began to be outpaced by the rushing river. He got more worried as her flailing was dying down. Kai! Releasing his restriction seal, he caught up within 10 seconds, but her head just sank below the water. Damn it! Letting himself sink into the water, he grabbed her arm, wrapped it around his neck, and began to swim towards the river edge. Pulling her out of the water, he laid her on her back, but he couldn't hear her breathing, so he began doing CPR. Finally she spit up the water in her lungs and began to breathe. As she woke up, he laid next to her and breathed laboriously. Thank Kami. What happened? Naruto gave a tired smile. Well, I did say you would fall in at least once. I just didn't expect it to be in the rapids. Hinata adopted an embarrassed and depressed look. I'm sorry. I'm so weak and you useless. Naruto jumps to hug her and whispers in her ear, you are not weak. You are not useless. He holds her by the shoulder and tries to look her in the eyes, but she keeps staring at the floor, tears developing. Taking her chin in his hand, she moves her face to meet his. You are amazing. You learned to water walk. In one try. I couldn't do that. It took me hours. Hinata was too sad to understand the position she was in, and she only asked, really? Yes. Really. I am so lucky to be on your team. And I hope that we can learn from each other just as much as we learned from Kurenai-sensei. Hinata finally recovered from her downward spiral, and she finally smiled, and Naruto smiled with her. But when they looked at each other and fully understood that their faces were 3 inches away from each other, one hand on her shoulder, the other holding her chin, they were completely drenched, so her figure showed even more than before, and the water glistened off of Naruto's abs. And for the first time someone actually matched Hinata's blush, as they blushed so hard they looked like glow sticks and passed out. At the end of the hour, Kurenai left behind a shadow clone to teach Shino, and went to look for the wayward pair of Genin. Near the river she had only found their shirts and jackets, but had sensed them unmoving about a mile downstream. Picking up the shirts, she ran downstream, where she found a shirtless Naruto with a drop of blood trailing down his nose, passed out, laying next to a passed out Hinata with her mesh armor stuck to her skin and a trail of blood down her nose too. She looked down, smiling. He might be what she needs after all. First she woke Naruto, then threw him his shirt. Get out of here before I wake her up. Okay. Making a shadow clone, she told Naruto. Follow this clone for your individual lesson. Putting on his jacket, he followed the clone back upstream. Once they were far enough away, the clone asked, so what would you like to work on? Actually, I want to discuss something with you before we start. Okay, sure. What is it? I'm trying to become a seal master. And a few months ago, when I reached level 4, they introduced the restriction seal. Kurenai raised her hand to indicate a pause. Wait, what level are you at now? I'm almost done with 5. Out of 10. But anyway, the restriction seal is one you place on the body to restrict movement by a set amount. So at level 1 it feels like you're wading through water but with your whole body, then level 2 feels like mud, harder and harder to level 10. Okay, so why are you telling me this? Well, if I applied the seal to our team, then it would make any movement a workout, and improve physical training. She was starting to get interested in the seal. But what if we get into a serious fight? Levels are adjustable, so you could deactivate it entirely, or raise the level. All it requires is some chakra. You could apply this seal yourself? Yup. How? Well, this seal is applied directly to the body, so I would need access to the back and limbs. So the person getting the seal would have to be naked. Kurenai raised an eyebrow. Naruto paused to think for a few seconds but responded, well, I think I know a way around that, but if it doesn't work, then yes. Okay. When could you apply the seal? Whenever, Naruto shrugged. It takes about 30 minutes per person. Alright. When we get back together we can ask your teammates. But I personally will let you place the seal on me. Anything else? Yes, I want you to test our affinities. Kurenai squinted suspiciously. That's a Chunin level skill. It's way too early. Wait, this is for 2 reasons. On this team I'm meant to be the powerhouse, the main offensive unit, but right now the only combat-related jutsu I know are the Shadow Clone and Kawarini, which while important, aren't much. This basically makes me a one-man army taijutsu specialist. Kurenai nodded her head in understanding, so Naruto continued, my massive chakra reserves gives me incredible potential as a ninjutsu specialist, so it would be helpful to know what jutsu would be the easiest for me to learn, though eventually I would love to master all 5 chakra natures just like the Sandaime. Plus if I use my clones I could use combo jutsu by myself. Kurenai scratched her chin and thought, that does make sense. I guess I could test your affinity. What's the second reason, Hinata? Kurenai looked at Naruto confused. What does she have to do with this? I don't think she has an earth affinity. What? All Hyugas do. Well, she's not like other Hyugas, is she? She is more flexible and passive. And whenever she fights it looks like she has to correct herself, almost as if she's fighting herself. Kurenai finished. Exactly. Kurenai looked at Naruto with hope. I really hope you're right, because if you are, this solves most of her problems. Naruto grinned back. You and me both. Kurenai's smile softens and she asks, now how can I actually help you? Well, I never got to know the next chakra control exercise. Pulling out a kunai, it begins to hover in her hand. Each chakra exercise corresponds to a rank. Water walking was Chunin. The next one is the Jonin chakra control exercise, kunai balancing. Let's see how fast you can learn it. It had been 2 weeks since their conversation. A week ago Naruto had placed the seals on everyone, and today they released them to get accustomed to their new speed, strength, and stamina. Kunai had gone especially hard in their exercises to test their limits. However, during chakra control training Kurenai made a change. Come here today, I want to test something before we do chakra control. Walking towards her, Kurenai began to explain, this is litmus paper. It is so sensitive to chakra that if you pump any amount of chakra into it, it reveals your chakra affinity. Similar to the chakra scroll back in the academy. Shino noted. Yes. I'm doing this now so I know what jutsu to teach you. Handing them out she explained further, if it burns if your affinity is fire, if it dampens it's water, if it turns to dirt it's earth, if it wrinkles it's lightning, and if it's wind it gets cut. She demonstrates by pumping chakra into her own slip making it burn. Holding the paper in his hand Naruto comments, pretty intuitive. Yes, so Shino you can go first. Holding the paper in one hand he channels chakra through his hand and into the paper, and from the corner it begins to burn, earth style. Is it good? Shino asks. All affinities are good, they just have strengths and weaknesses. You're next, Naruto. Taking the paper he grips it by the corner and channels chakra through it. It crinkled almost into a ball, then became very damp. Kurenai was very surprised. Very strong lightning affinity with water as a secondary. Most people aren't born with 2 affinities, and the ones that are tend to have Kekkei Genkai. Your last, Hinata. Nervously she channeled chakra into her own paper. But instead of crumbling to dirt as she expected, the paper became very damp. Naruto grinned. I was right. Her water affinity makes it impossible for her to master the gentle fist. Hinata became nervous. I am a Hyuga. Isn't it supposed to crumble? Sometimes affinities aren't passed down by genetics. When you get home I want you to tell your father. You were never going to master the gentle fist because your mind is fighting your body every time you get into stance. Oh. Hinata looked despondent. Naruto tried to help. Hey. None of that. If there isn't another version of the gentle fist, then you'll make your own, and I'll help. Kurenai clapped her hands to regain their attention. We will not be training in your affinities for at least another 2 months. So get back to your chakra control exercise. When individual lessons came around, Kurenai made 2 shadow clones and all 3 groups split into the forest, the original going with Naruto. Kurenai pulled out 2 scrolls and asked, I found 1 jutsu per affinity, so which would you like to learn first? Naruto pulls out a brush and paper then asks, lightning, but can I see them all so I can copy them into my personal library? Kurenai smirks, whoa hotshot, maybe 1 at a time. How about this? After you learn one, I let you learn another. Naruto grumbles out, fine, hand me the lightning one. Tossing over one scroll, she put the other in her bag. Right Tenohira, C rank, seals, tiger snake dragon ram. Description: user surrounds their hands with lightning chakra. Amount of chakra determines the effect. Contact with the enemy can cause pain at minimum, temporary or permanent paralysis, unconsciousness or death if enough chakra is used. The electricity can also pass through wires and water. Original jutsu: lightning release, shock palm. Cool. Time skip. After a healthy but large lunch, the teammate began to head towards the Hokage Tower for another mission. Do you think they will give us chores again? Naruto asks his teammates. Shino answers, we are only fresh genin. We are not skilled enough to handle anything more. I know, Naruto sighs. But I think we are. We will get there eventually, and Naruto-kun. When they finally made it to the office, Kurenai opened the door, and the genin followed her through. Good afternoon, Hokage-sama, Irika-san. Teammate, welcome back. Naruto waved, hey Gigi. Kurenai smirks and makes a request. My students believe that they are ready for a harder mission. Is that mission currently available? That mission? Already? Yes. I think they're ready, if you say so. The Hokage speaks to the genin as he fishes a scroll out of a drawer. This is a capture mission. The client, the daimyo's wife, has tasked you with finding the target, capturing them, and returning them here. All three genin widen their eyes in shock. Such an important mission, for genin? Only for genin. Finding the scroll, he opens it and checks. The target has dark brown hair, black eyes, and a red ribbon in her hair on the left side. Closing the scroll, the Hokage tosses it to Naruto with a smirk. Oh. And she's a cat. The silence was deafening. Our mission is to capture the daimyo's cat? Daimyo's wife's cat. Yes. While the adults were trying to hold in their laughter, Shino just looked at the picture of the cat. Hinata thought she was cute, but Naruto just sighed. Alright, I guess. So Kurenai-sensei, how do we start? Let's start by finding the cat. Naruto shrugged. Okay, it can't be that hard. The laughter of all the adults confused the genin. Okay team, let's find that cat. 3 hours later, the squad returned with Tora in Hinata's arms as she petted the cat. The Hokage looked at this scene with his wide eyes. How? You beat the previous record by an hour. Really? That long? Shino found her with his bugs, but after the cat escaped 3 times, I just released my seal. Those claws really hurt. The Hokage nodded. Don't I know it? Looking at the old man suspiciously, Naruto continued. Anyway, after we pet her for a bit, she calmed down. She seemed really stressed, but Hinata really helped in calming her down. The Hokage smiled. Well done, teammate, in completing your first mission. Darling. A lady ran through the doors and snatched Tora out of Hinata's arms. I missed you. The hug that she gave the cat looked more like a strangle, evident by a flailing Tora. Facing the genin, she thanks them profusely, then leaves with the cat still trying to escape. Now we know why the cat runs away, Shino comments. Kurenai commented, well done, genin. You've proven that you are ready for harder missions. Go home and rest. And Hinata, remember to tell your father about your affinity. They all saluted. Hi. Next day, Naruto woke up early that day, so he decided to get to the training ground early. It was 7:30 when he got there, so he decided to read his book on sealing level 6. It had been 15 minutes, and he was halfway through the part on barrier seals when someone else arrived. Looking up from his book, he saw Hinata walking toward him, but something was off. He was going to keep reading until she got closer, but he couldn't take his eyes away. The closer she got, the more worried he got. First he noticed that she was. Next he saw the tear marks on her cheeks. And finally he noticed that normally pure white eyes, with a slight lavender tint, were red. Putting his book away, he got up and asked, what happened? She thought she had cried all her tears the night before. But when she looked into Naruto's sky blue eyes, she broke once more. She fell to the floor and broke out in tears. Naruto immediately sat down and held her close. Hey, it's okay. Hinata cried into his chest. MMIMIHE, you're alright. I'm here. He began to stroke her hair in an attempt to soothe her. By the time everyone else arrived, Hinata had fallen asleep in Naruto's arms. When Kurenai saw Hinata asleep with tears on her cheeks, she was worried and whispered, what happened? Naruto looked at Kurenai. I don't know, sensei. It's just when she got here, she was crying. I don't think she got much sleep last night. Take her home. She needs sleep. I don't think that's best. Why not? Kurenai crossed her arms. Whatever happened, it was at her home. If I bring her back, it might make it worse. Where would we bring her? I could bring her to my home. No one would bother her there. And I could leave some clones to watch her. I guess that's fine. But no funny business. Of course not. I hate perverts. Making 2 Kage Bunshin, he gave them commands. Here, take her. One of you will pop once you know why she is crying. The other will stay to make sure she's okay. When he tried to pass her to his clone, she clung to him. Naruto smiled, cute, like a baby. Turning back to his clone, he asks, ready to catch her? Yep. Naruto then replaced himself perfectly with his clone. Now make sure she rests. And don't pop until you know what happened. As the clones ran away, the others began their exercise. They had increased their seal's level, so their exercise took much longer than normal. It was an hour to noon before they had completed their chakra control. During their individual lesson, Naruto was excited because he had almost completed his first jutsu, A/N. His chakra control, while still average because of his colossal reserves, has largely contributed to how fast he can learn jutsu. He had already got it to work, but he was working on lowering its power. Before, the jutsu always had enough power to kill a person, but today he was able to turn it down enough to only send someone into unconsciousness. He was running through the hand signs as some memories rushed back to him. Kurenai, seeing her student suddenly freeze, asked, "What's wrong?" With the most serious face she had ever seen on Naruto, he responded, "Do you know what the Hyuga seal does?" Kurenai was confused. "Well, from what Hinata told me, it's supposed to destroy the eyes at death so that enemies cannot steal the eyes. But it's also a curse seal that the main house uses to keep the branch house in line. It directly attacks the brain." "Why?" Naruto looked her dead in the eye. "Because I'll have to be able to remove one by the end of the month." Hinata woke up in a bedroom that wasn't hers but was concerningly familiar. As she looked around, it was a large room and extremely organized. Looking at the clock, it said 11:12. Activating her Byakugan, she saw that she was still in Konoha and not alone. Deactivating her Byakugan, she opened the door out of the bedroom and saw 2 Naruto clones. One was reading a book, and the other seemed to be rewriting the same seal over and over again at very quick speeds. While one kept reading, the other looked up and smiled. "Good morning, I hope you had a nice nap." Hinata nodded. "I did. Where are we? This is my apartment." Hinata blushed furiously. How did WEGG get H here? After you fell asleep in my arms, Kurenai thought it would be best to let you sleep. Hinata's blush somehow got redder. Didn't YUTT take me H home? Naruto's clone's smile began to fade. "You cried yourself to sleep in my arms. Something happened where you live. Would you mind telling me?" Hinata's increasing blush vanished instantly as she slowly became despondent. "My father he." Her voice hitched as tears began to form in her eyes. When IT told him about MIA affinity, he said. She fell to the ground, but Naruto caught her. "Hey, it's okay, I'm here. I'm listening." He said, "S someone that C could N never fully mastered the J-Juken W wasn't W worthy E enough to BBC clan heir." With one final whimper she cried, "He's G going to S seal me at T the end of T the M month." Though she couldn't see it bawling into the chest of Naruto's clone, they were explosively angry. They couldn't believe that her clan was taking away her birthright because she wasn't the same as everyone else. The clone holding Hinata turned to the other. "Go tell boss." "Now," as the clone poofed behind him. The clone continued to soothe Hinata as she fell apart in his arms for the second time. Teammate did not take a mission that day, so Naruto had gotten home not long after he received the clone's memories. Seeing Hinata beginning to calm down, he replaced the clone and held Hinata in his arms. Naruto stroked her hair and asked, "How can I help you through this?" Hinata stuttered, "When IG gets sealed, IW will be moved to the B branch H house. How am I supposed to unite my clan if any the M main house members C could K kill me if I even try? Prove them wrong." Hinata with tears in her eyes looked to Naruto confused. What do YUM mean? Naruto pulls her off the ground. "Come over here." Naruto guides her to the bookshelf in his room. Sitting her on the bed, he takes a single book off the shelf. Holding his hand in the books, he begins, "This is a bingo book. This specific one contains every S-rank shinobi to come out of Konoha. I will give you 100 ryo for every Hyuga you find in this book." Hinata looks confused. "Are you sure?" "Just look," Naruto insisted. As Hinata flipped page by page, she was growing more and more confused and surprised. "Why aren't there any Hyuga in here?" Naruto smiled. I want to be Hokage, so I learned about what it took to be one. I checked the bingo book and found out that every single Kage, without exception, was at minimum an S-rank shinobi. This led to finding out how to be one, and I came to the conclusion that every single S-rank shinobi has something special that separates them from everyone else. Something nearly irreplicable. Hinata was scared. But how am I supposed to prove my family wrong? Become an S-rank shinobi. If the Hyuga respect power above all, then show them how powerful the Hyuga can be. Show them that they were wrong to seal you, that Hyugas can do more than just the Juken. BB, but how am I supposed to do that if they can kill me if I get too strong? Holding Hinata by the shoulders he reassured her. I can't do anything about them moving you to the branch house. But what I can do is remove that seal. I have over 20 clones learning every single thing they can about Fuinjutsu and Juinjutsu. If you're going to get sealed at the end of the month, then I'm going to learn to remove it by then. Hinata looked petrified. What if my C-Clan F finds out? Live with me. From the time Hinata had spent with him and following, stalking him, she knew that Naruto rarely made any careless decisions. As boisterous he could be, Naruto was also very calculative. So it surprised her when Naruto suggested something so rash. There was a prolonged silence as Hinata began to blush harder than she ever had before. Live with YYU? When you get sealed, your clan won't care about you anymore. You'll just be another branch member to them. Maybe even less so because of your affinity. Live with me so that you don't have to be a second-class citizen in your own home. While the thought of living with her long-standing crush had pleased her greatly, she was still disheartened by the fact that her clan would no longer care about her once she was branded. Are you sure? IWW wouldn't want T to be a BB burden. Holding her hands, Naruto speaks very clearly. You will never be a burden to me. You were my first friend. You are precious to me and I would do anything to help you. I want you to be able to wake up with a smile. Instilled with the slightest bit of confidence, Hinata asked, what do I need to do? Do you think it would be possible for you to get me a copy of the seal? 1 week later, you could tell Hinata was extremely nervous as she walked towards the Hyuga compound, and though next to her Naruto showed a very calm and confident exterior, he was just as nervous. Arriving at the gates, they both bowed to the guards as Hinata spoke. Good afternoon, Raku-san, Yomite-san. WEW would like to see my father please. As they opened the gates, Raku answered, you will find Hayashi-sama in his study. Have a nice day, Hinata-sama. Though Hinata was let in, they blocked Naruto's path and Yomite spoke, you are not allowed in here. He is WW with me. Hinata squeaked. Sighing, they both stepped out of the way and Naruto began to follow Hinata. As they walked through the compound, Naruto was in awe of the luxurious houses and beautiful gardens. But all his nervousness came back as they stepped through the doors of the biggest, most luxurious building of them all. I know that Hyugas are very important, but I didn't know Hinata's dad was this important. As they both walked towards the back, Naruto could tell Hinata was getting more and more nervous. He grabbed her by the hand and squeezed it. Looking back, Hinata saw Naruto give a confident nod, so she took a breath and kept walking. Arriving at a large door, Hinata knocked. They hear a muffled enter. Sliding the door to the right, they both walk in, and while Hayashi's face remained stoic, he was confused at Naruto's presence. Who is this? Naruto bowed. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I am your daughter's teammate. It is nice to meet you, Hyuga-sama. A pleasure. Why are you here? I am here as moral support for Hinata's request. Hayashi turned to his daughter. Request? WWLIWW1YYUSCI. Hinata couldn't get a word out. Hayashi was getting tired of Hinata's stutter, and was about to speak on it, but he stopped himself. Naruto touches Hinata's shoulder. Hey, just breathe. Hinata turned to Naruto, and he saw how scared she was in her pale lavender eyes. It's okay. Just breathe, and speak clearly. Hayashi watched the peculiar interaction with interest as Hinata took a breath. I am requesting to move out of the Hyuga compound after my seal is placed. Though she wasn't able to meet his eyes, it was the first time in years that he heard her speak without a stutter. Nobody was ever able to calm her like that. No Hyuga has ever lived outside of this compound, and it would be foolish of me as clan head to let you because of the possibility of someone stealing your Byakugan. Hinata began getting nervous. IW would be sealed. Isn't that impossible? Not if you are captured. Like when you were 3? Hinata instantly became petrified. Seeing this, Naruto cut in. Well, assuming that she was kidnapped directly from this compound, it would be much riskier to kidnap someone from the center of the village. Raising an eyebrow, Hayashi comments, you speak as if you already know where she would live. After taking a breath in preparation, Naruto speaks, she would be living with me. Hayashi managed to keep a stoic face. Why would I let you do that? This time Hinata cut in. Will, B because we all live together, we C could S split the bills. And B because we are teammates, we would H have identical S schedules. Hayashi stared at them both, and the silence made it extremely uncomfortable for the both of them. Hinata, please leave the room. The two genin looked at each other nervously, but Hinata still got up to leave. After Hinata closed the door behind her, Hayashi spoke, although I do not show it, I care for my daughters very much. However, the well-being of the clan is my top priority. Last week when Hinata came to me telling me her affinity, I was forced to forego my responsibility as a father, and seal her for the betterment of the clan. When I told her of my decision, I could almost see her heart break. Naruto met Hayashi's eyes, and although he tried to show confidence, he could feel Hayashi glare straight through him. When you two came in today, I saw you do something that I couldn't do, something that I thought no one could do. You gave Hinata confidence. For years me and other Hyugas have done our best to instill some Hyuga pride into her, but she still kept her meek personality. But today, you managed to calm her from that annoying, incessant stutter and momentarily grant her some confidence. Naruto's mask of confidence began to break as Hayashi kept his stoicism. Today, I am choosing my daughter. Whatever contact she has had with you seems to give her confidence. So I am leaving her with you in the hopes that she finally gains the confidence she should have always had, and that she can grow into someone that can motivate this clan to change. As a smile was about to spread across his face when Hayashi activated his Byakugan to give the most menacing glare. But if I ever find out that you have hurt her in any way, I will punish you in ways that you cannot comprehend. Do you understand? Though Naruto kept his happy grin, he was extremely scared of his teammate's father, so he nodded expeditiously. Hayashi shouted, "Come in, Hinata." She quickly slid open the door and looked at Naruto, who was grinning. As she stepped inside, she looked to her father. "I will allow you to live with Uzumaki-san. You have next week to begin the moving process, and 3 days to move out after the sealing." Happily she hugged her father, and though he kept his stoicism, he did hug her back. "May you please both leave? I need to continue my paperwork." Standing up, they both chorused, "Thank you." Stepping out of the room, they smiled and hugged. The blush Hinata had made her glow, but she calmed down enough to not faint and enjoy the hug. Separating, Naruto smiled and asked, "How about I help you start packing up? Becoming a seal master is supposed to take years. Each level takes much longer than the last." But since that day there was always at least a few dozen clones practicing Fuinjutsu even while the original Naruto was sleeping. But the day before the sealing, Naruto had just managed to finish level 8. He learned how to place and remove slave seals, but the sections that mentioned Juinjutsu were very insistent on the fact that it was very different and very difficult. Though the copy of the caged bird seal that Hinata managed to bring him was very helpful on learning how to remove it, Hinata on the other hand began to learn a new fighting style. She knew the gentle fist was never going to work for her, so she started learning the Suiken. And because she and Naruto shared a water affinity, they trained in the style together. On the floor, Naruto smiled. "You always beat me when we only use the Suiken." Hinata pushed her index fingers together. "This style is more natural for me." Naruto rubbed the back of his head. "I know. The next step is combining it with the Juken. Why are you even learning this style? You're already really skilled in the Riken." Getting up, Naruto flashed a confident grin, "To confuse my enemies. I eventually want to learn more styles, so imagine this. You're fighting a bunch of my clones, but none of them use the same style. First you fight one using the Suiken, the next one uses the Riken, then the last one uses the Juken. It would always keep you guessing." Hinata thinks about it, then smiles back. "That would be hard to fight. Rematch? Of course." Both of them got into the Suiken opening stance and charged. Meeting in the middle, Naruto attempted to punch, but Hinata bent backwards out of the way. Changing to a cartwheel, she flipped backwards trying to kick Naruto in the chin, but Naruto was able to dodge sideways and make another charge. This time Hinata crouched under the punch and palmed Naruto in the stomach. Coughing up some spit, Naruto rolled backwards. Hinata charged Naruto, who was still on the ground, but as soon as she got close he used his crouching position to sweep her legs. Flying over him, she was able to convert her rough landing into a smooth roll, but quickly dodged left as Naruto rushed in with a flying kick. But just as Naruto passed by, she pushed him, setting him off balance. Unable to land correctly, he used his arms to reorient his landing, but it was still rough. He was able to stand up just before she strikes, so he used her momentum by grabbing her arm and tossing her over his shoulder. But reflexively she held onto him, so when she hit the ground he fell over too. Though Hinata was laying on the floor normally, Naruto was laying over her hand, pinning her arm while she was holding on to his other. As they looked each other in the eye, sweat giving their faces a sheen, their tired breath, blushes that were incomparable, and their mouths 2 inches apart, and all Hinata could think was, "Kiss him, kiss him, kiss him." After a second, Naruto quickly jumped off. "I am so sorry. I just reacted and what is happening to me? And then no, it's fine. It was a spar." Though she smiled at Naruto, she was disappointed in herself. They both took a moment to calm down when Naruto spoke up. "The sealing is tonight, right?" Hinata saddened. "Yes, when I get back to the compound the seal will be applied." Naruto rubbed her shoulder. "Hey, the next night I get to take it off. You'll still have to wear the bandages over your forehead, but at least there won't be any seal." Hinata took a deep breath. "Thank you. You've helped me so much, even when you don't have to." Naruto smiled. I care for you. You are precious to me, and there is nothing I wouldn't do for you. Naruto pulls her off the ground and continues, now let's get you home. I have a seal to remove tomorrow. Hinata smiled back with a blush. Why yeah? And I get to live with you. That night, Naruto bustled around the house organizing everything. They had already bought and arranged the new furniture and moved most of her clothes and items into dressers in the bedroom. In the dining room everything was moved to the sides to make space for the ceiling circle directly in the middle. When Naruto returned from training tomorrow he had a job to do, and he had to complete it. When he finally laid down on the bunk bed they had bought he began to focus on his plan. He understood that the kill switch on the seal was dangerous. He knew she was fine if he left the section that destroyed her eyes upon death, but it was the slave seal that scared him. It was so close to the kill switch that if he was even a little off it could hurt her. And above all that was one thing he really did not want to do. Next morning, when Naruto arrived at the training ground Hinata was already there, but with a major change. Her forehead was now covered with not only a set of bandages, but also her Hittite. Walking up to her he asked, let me see the seal before Shino arrives. Removing the bandages Hinata responds, why you'll still be able to remove it? Inspecting the seal Naruto confidently confirms, of course. Because it's so fresh the links to your brain and eyes are still developing making it much easier to remove. You can wrap it back up now. As they waited for the rest of the team to arrive they finalized all the little details about the sealing process and the living arrangements. But after about 20 minutes everyone else arrived. Good morning. Today is adjustment day. Remove your seals. But it's been a month so I want you to do 10 laps around the forest and 100 push-ups and sit-ups. It should be challenging due to the increase but not too much because of the seal release. Now go. After 3 shouts of Kai. 3 dust clouds formed as the Genin attempted to adjust to their new speed via trial and error. Kurenai watched on, proud of the improvement of her Genin, as they completed all 10 of their laps in under an hour. And as tired as they seemed they started their push-ups directly after their laps. I guess training with a stamina monster encourages growth in stamina. For the first time the Genin were able to complete all their physical exercises in under 2 hours. As they were all laying on the grass panting they heard clapping off to the side. Well done Genin. Take a break and rest up before you start chakra control. After 15 minutes the Genin began their 1 hour of chakra control. Naruto and Hinata remained seated, trying to balance as many kunai as they could along their arms, Naruto having 3 and Hinata having 5. But Shino walked to the river to practice water walking. After an hour Kurenai produced 2 clones and called out, time for individual lessons, please follow one of me. With Shino. When Kurenai and Shino separated enough from the group asked, Shino, give me your best Otan, Doria Hiki. Earth style, earth wall. Going through the hand signs Shino monotonously shouted, Dotan, Doria Hiki. And after palming the ground with both hands a 10 by 10 foot curved wall shot up from the ground. It was roughly 6 inches thick. Smiling Kurenai walked 20 feet away from the wall and said now, let's test it. She quickly threw 10 shuriken and kunai and they lodged hill deep into the wall but they did not penetrate fully through. Next Kurenai went through hand signs of her own, Katan, Hozenka. Fire style, Phoenix Flame. Each of the small fireballs that hit the walls only left a scorch mark but no damage making Kurenai very proud. Well done Shino your jutsu was impeccable. Thank you sensei. Which jutsu will I learn next? Kurenai throws him a scroll, this one. Dotan Shinjuzanshu, D-rank Earth style, double suicide decapitation. Seals, monkey snake tiger ram. Description. User travels under the ground then the user then pulls the target under the ground up to their neck, leaving the target vulnerable to attacks and torture. With Hinata, for the past 2 weeks I have watched you learn an entirely new fighting style. And honestly you are doing better with the Suiken in the past 2 weeks than the entire time you've known the Juken. So now we are moving on from Taijutsu to Ninjutsu. Hinata gave a confused look. I'm going to be learning Jutsu? Hyuga aren't allowed to learn Jutsu. Kurenai smirked. You are learning a new style. I know about your living arrangement. And we both know that you're not the average Hyuga. So why don't we continue this change with learning Jutsu? Hinata thought it over for a second, smiled and nodded. Okay, great. Try this one first, Kurenai instructed, tossing a scroll over. Suitun, Suiden no Jutsu. C-rank, water style, water bullet. Seals, Tiger Ox Tiger Ram. Description. User channels chakra to their stomach then spits out a bullet of water. The more chakra is used the stronger the bullets are and the more there are. Closing it up Hinata smiled. I'll do my best. With Naruto. As promised, if you can show me that you can control your jutsu I will teach you another. Naruto smirks, goes through the hand signs then shouts. Right-un, Rai Tenohira. Lightning begins to pulsate in the palms of his hands as Naruto runs towards the nearest tree and slaps it. The area of the tree around his hand darkens slowly, and when Naruto removes his hand there were dark scorch marks where the lightning used to be. Clapping, Kurenai congratulates, well done. Now I assume you would like to learn a water jutsu next? Definitely. Digging through her bag she found a scroll and tossed it to him. Good, because I found this jutsu and thought you might like it. Rolling it open it reads, Suetun, Swishoha, A rank, water style, water colliding wave, seals, horse dog bird tiger borax rat. Description: user creates or controls a vortex of water that, using hand gestures, can be manipulated in any way. The water can even be evaporated by the user. The water can also be used for any additional water jutsu. Naruto asked excitedly, an A-rank jutsu? Kurenai smiled back, created by our very own Naidame Hokage. The jutsu is very adaptable. You could use it as defense, offense, or even support for your lightning jutsu. Though the more water you use the more chakra you need, though I don't think it will be a problem for you. But to accurately control the water, you need good chakra control. So it's a nice balance between power and control. Naruto grinned, I'll get this down, no problem. Dismissed. Team 8 finally finished their missions for the day, though the Genin only though they were chores. But for the first time Hinata walked home together with Naruto. Though she still had 3 days to move out of her compound, Naruto's clones helped her finish moving the day before. When they entered the apartment, Naruto directed her to the dining room as he retrieved his advanced sealing equipment from the bedroom. Sitting off to the side, Hinata watched as on a paper that Naruto set down, he drew a large, intricate seal circle. Finishing the seal, Naruto gave her directions. Please remove your head covers, then lay down in the center of the circle. Hinata calmly follows his commands and Naruto sits beside her. To finish the seal, I'm going to draw directly onto your forehead, so please do not move. Okay. The last thing Hinata saw before she closed her eyes was Naruto taking out his brush, dipping it in his chakra ink and beginning to draw. In total darkness she felt the cold ink the brush left behind and the soothing pressure of the brush moving along her skin. As time melded together she was unaware of how long Naruto was working, but she began to fall asleep after the hard work of a long day. But when she finally woke up she was staring up at the bottom of another bed. Slowly getting out of the bed she looked out into a dark room, but off to the side she saw a clock reading 5 a.m. Channeling chakra into her eyes she whispers, Byakugan. Looking around she saw Naruto asleep in the bed above hers, and finally she remembered exactly where she was. I moved yesterday to live with Naruto. Hinata's blush was almost making the room glow. Deactivating her eyes, Hinata quietly walked into the bathroom, flicked on the light and looked into the mirror. A smile slowly spread on her face as no longer was the green curse seal that burdened her clan, but a new blue seal that only served the purpose of protecting her eyes. Turning off the light she walked into the dining room and prepared some tea. Besides, practice began in a few hours and she already got 12 hours of sleep. At around 6 a.m. she heard movement in the bedroom, so she walked over and saw Naruto getting ready, so she called out, Good morning. Naruto smiled, Good morning. Did you have a nice rest? The best sleep of my life, thank you so much. Naruto scratched the back of his head and beamed. The sealing went perfectly. Though it was difficult, the seal was still making its connection to your brain, so it was easier to remove. 1 month later, Naruto and Hinata were on their way home from their mission, just happily discussing their training that day because Kurenai had finally let them train in their affinity. They happened to be passing by a cafe when they heard a familiar shout, A rank? Already? Looking to the source of the shout, they saw Ino and Sakura talking with each other. Curious, they hinged and took a seat near them to listen into their conversation. You have an A-rank mission in your record? Sakura smirked, Yup. It started as a C-rank protecting this old drunk bridge builder Tazuna. But on our way to Wave Country we ran into some Chunin Nukenin. No way. Really? Yeah. Kakashi played dead, but Sasuke-kun was able to defeat them both. Of course he did. Sasuke is so strong. Ino squealed. Naruto and Hinata rolled their eyes to this but continued listening. Then we found out that the old man was being targeted by this rich guy Gato, so we continued the mission. But like an hour away from the man's house we ran into an A-rank Nukenin Momochi Zabuza. Kakashi-sensei got trapped by Zabuza, so Sasuke-kun made a plan to free him. Sasuke-kun is so smart, right? Anyway, after Kakashi-sensei was free he was about to defeat Zabuza, but this fake hunter Nin pretended to kill Zabuza. He got away with it because we didn't know at the time. But when we got to Tazuna's house, Kakashi-sensei said that he was alive. So we trained for a whole week. At the end of the week we were going to the bridge, but Zabuza was attacking, so Kakashi fought Zabuza and Sasuke-kun fought the fake hunter Nin. But of course that day Dog Boy overslept, so he was late to the fight. Ino rolled her eyes. What a lazy idiot. I know. But after that the Hunter-nin fake killed Sasuke-kun and Kiba because he was too strong. But it let Sasuke-kun unlock his Sharingan. Ino had stars in his eyes. Sasuke-kun must be even stronger now. He is. But as the Hunter-nin was about to kill Tazuna, Kakashi was about to kill Zabuza, so he took the hit instead. Zabuza was about to keep fighting, but then Gato came with some mercenaries to betray Zabuza. So Zabuza worked with Kakashi to kill all the mercenaries and Gato. Now that bridge is named after Team 7. Sakura puffed out her chest in pride. Ino pouted, I want a bridge named after me. Letting the two girls continue their conversation, Naruto whispers to Hinata, I want a bridge named after me too, and if Team 7 can go on an A-rank mission, then we can go on a C-rank one. Hinata nods, I agree, now let's get out of here. Paying the bill, they both left the cafe. Next morning, the three Genin were doing their laps around the forest. However, when they got out of Kurenai's view, Naruto slowed down and matched Shino's pace. Hey Shino, do you want to do a C-rank mission? Shino nodded yes. I would like to move on from the chores that we receive as a mission. Well, me and Hinata heard that Team 7 went on an A-rank mission, so I'm thinking that today when we go to the mission desk we will use that information to get a C-rank. Shino tilted his head. Please explain the A-rank mission. It was a C-rank mission gone wrong, but they still have an A-rank on their record. I think your plan for a C-rank is good. I will cooperate. Naruto smiled, great. I'm gonna speed up now. Naruto sped up to return to his previous speed. That afternoon, when Team 8 entered the mission room, Hiruzen smiled. Good afternoon, Team 8. We have some D-rank missions for you. Which one will you take? Kurenai was about to speak up when Naruto quickly jumped in. None. We will be taking a C-rank. You've only been Genin for 2 months. You are not ready for a C-rank. Iruka scolded. What about Team 7? If they can handle an A-rank mission, then we can definitely handle a C-rank. Kurenai turned to her Hokage. A-rank? Hiruzen squinted in suspicion. How did you hear about that? Hinata answered this time. We heard Haruno Sakura be bragging about it yesterday. Hiruzen turned to Shino. What do you think? We are ready. Kurenai? Kurenai shrugged. If Team 7 can complete an A-rank mission, then mine can definitely complete a C-rank one. Hiruzen relented. Okay. Iruka, give them a C-rank. Iruka sighed and searched the C-rank pile until he found a suitable mission. Handing it to Kurenai, she rolls it open and reads, though her face was slightly concerned. One of these? Already? Oh, okay, team, prepare for a C-rank mission that will last up to 2 weeks. The mission should only last up to a week, but better safe than sorry. I will tell you the mission tomorrow. We meet at the main gates tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Dismissed. Next morning, standing at attention in front of the main gates, Kurenai shouts to her Genin. Tell me what you have packed for the mission. Hinata? Hinata steps forward and begins to list. 40 kunai and shuriken, 1 medkit, 15 sets of clothes, 15 ration bars, chakra pills, and food pills, and a tent. Good, but where are you keeping all this? Hinata opens her bag and reveals lots of sealing scrolls. Naruto made me some scrolls to seal things away. Okay, Naruto, what about you? Naruto pulls a large scroll of his back and unravels it, revealing a pie chart split into 8 even pieces. 50 kunai and shuriken, 2 spools of conductive ninja wire, 15 sets of clothes, 1 medkit, my combat sealing supplies, 20 self-made exploding and smoke tags, 20 ration bars, chakra pills, and food pills, and a tent. Well done, maybe next time you can make one for all of us. Your last, Shino. 40 kunai and shuriken, 1 medkit, 15 sets of clothes, 10 ration bars, chakra pills, and food pills, and a tent. Kurenai nodded and smiled. Well done, you three, you have prepared well. Now let's go. Tonight when we rest I will explain the mission. For the next 10 hours Team 8 ran on paths, and through forests, chatting calmly and only stopping for lunch. But as the sun set, Kurenai called out to her Genin, the sun is setting, so we'll set up camp here. I'll quickly go hunt for some food. Hinata gather firewood. Naruto and Shino set up the tents. After about 20 minutes everyone was sitting around the campfire, roasting some fish. Kurenai broke the silence. I will now describe the mission. We have been heading to a town, and we should arrive tomorrow around noon. The town's lord's daughter has been kidnapped by a local bandit camp. Our mission is to find the camp, recover the girl, and dispose of the bandits. Dispose? Shino questioned. Kurenai sighed. Kill. We are killing the bandits. A dreadful silence washed over the camp as the Genin slowly processed what they were going to have to do. Hinata looked at Kurenai. But that's a murder. It is what we were hired to do. But we'll deal with that when we have to. We will sleep in 3-hour shifts. I'll take the first one, Naruto you take the next, followed by Hinata, and finally Shino. We still have a journey in the morning. Though each genin was able to sleep when they needed to, during their shifts they were wide awake, dreading the moment when they would have to take someone else's life. When Team 8 finally arrived in the town, they were easily welcomed. The people were excited to see Ninja from Konoha, but passing by townspeople, the team walked straight to the Lord's house. When they walked out to the large house, they knocked on the gate. A servant opened the door and bowed to the ninja. "Welcome, Lord Fukawa has been expecting you. I will guide you to his office." Walking through the garden, they eventually came upon a room. The servant knocked on the door. "The Konoha shinobi are here." They heard a shout, "Let them in." The servant opened the door to the side and the 4 shinobi walked in, the genin following behind Kurenai. Behind a desk was Lord Fukawa. He was a middle-aged man with dark blue hair and brown eyes, wearing a green kimono. "Thank you so much for your assistance. We are here to help." "Tell us what you know." Kurenai responded. "Of course. Around 3 nights ago my daughter was kidnapped from the mansion in the middle of the night. I had heard a scream come from her room, so I went to see what was wrong, but when I opened the door there was a man in all black. He quickly dashed out the window, but he was holding a sack that had my daughter inside." "What does your daughter look like?" Kurenai asked. Lord Fukawa handed a picture frame from his desk over to Kurenai. "She's only 8 years old. Her name is Katsuko." The girl in the picture had a large smile, light blue hair, and hazel eyes. "Have you moved anything in her room?" "No. I thought that if I left it as it was, it might make it easier for you to find her." "It will. Can you take us to her room?" "Follow me." Standing up, he quickly guided the shinobi through the building and to her room, sliding the door open. Inside the room everything looked clean except for the bed, which was a mess, and the window, which was busted open. Looking around, Kurenai asked, "Okay team, found anything?" Shino pointed out the window. "There are some tracks outside the window. Most likely left behind by the kidnapper." Hinata with her Byakugan activated comments, "And there is nothing in this room that gives any clues." Kurenai nods. "Okay, let's follow those tracks." Kurenai turns to Lord Fukawa. "Where will we be staying?" "The Silver Swan. It's our most luxurious hotel. They know you are coming." "Okay team, let's go. We'll follow the tracks in a single file." "Hinata, I want you to scan the area every 5 minutes for 1 minute, and report to me any changes." For the next 2 hours Team 8 followed the footprints left behind by the kidnapper. Every 15 to 20 minutes there was a random change in direction, most likely to throw off any pursuers. But every time Hinata was able to detect the change in direction, they were ready to return to the town when they heard a conversation off in the distance. Quickly and quietly the 4 shinobi spied on 3 men, seemingly bandits because of the swords on their hips, drinking sake. "Hey, did you hear? Yuto pulled it off." "Pulled what off?" one responds. The third interrupts. "Yuto actually managed to kidnap that little girl." "The Lord's daughter?" "Yeah. The boss is gonna send a ransom, and Yuto's gonna get a big cut." "No way. Maybe we should kidnap someone. Get some money too. We could buy more sake." Letting the conversation go on, Kurenai signs to her genin, "We are going to capture them for interrogation." She receives 3 signals back. "Got it. Naruto, use Rai Tenohira on the one in front of you. Don't kill him." "Got it." Naruto nodded. "Shino, take out another by draining just enough of their chakra." "Understood." Shino shifted his glasses. "Hinata, take out the last with a Juken strike." "Okay." Hinata gave a thumbs up. "I will use a genjutsu to stun them. Go." Kurenai made a few hand signs. Now, all 3 genin jumped out of their hiding spots, quickly knocking all 3 men unconscious. Kurenai clapped. "Well done, genin. Naruto, apply a paralysis seal." "Hinata, what does their chakra system look like?" As Naruto places the seal on the 3 men, Hinata says, "Locked and not developed." Kurenai smiled. "Good. Then genjutsu will be perfect as an interrogation method. You guys can stay here until they wake up, but when they do I need you to walk away." The 3 genin just converse lightly, talking about their hobbies and new abilities. After about 30 minutes the 3 men begin to wake up, so Kurenai directs them away. The genin were just out of earshot, so they weren't able to see or hear what Kurenai was doing. But after about 20 minutes Kurenai called them back. Kurenai was standing facing her genin with a dark look, but behind her were the 3 men, lined up kneeling with their heads down. "Did you get the information?" Shino asked. "I did." "Then why such a dark look?" Hinata was getting nervous. Kurenai stepped to the side. "Each of you will kill one of these men. Not with a jutsu, but with a kunai or your bare hands." "What?" Naruto shouts. "Part of the mission is to destroy the bandit camp, and that includes killing the bandits. I can't have you flinching in the middle of a fight, so I need to get you through your first kill trauma now." "Bbu," but Hinata could only stutter. Kurenai shakes her head, but nothing. This needs to happen. The earlier the better. While the other two were frozen in shock, Shino silently and slowly grabbed a kunai from his pouch, walked over to the man on the left, and plunged it into his carotid, blood flowing down Shino's arm. Shino left the kunai in the man's neck and returned to his position as the man dropped to the ground lifeless. Shino still kept his stoic look, but it was obvious that he was bothered by the way he stared at his bloodied hands, and how his bugs were strangely quieter than normal. Naruto was next to snap out of his shock. Following Shino's example, he silently walked over to the man in the middle, grabbed his head, and swiftly snapped the man's neck. Quietly, Naruto walked over to Shino and hugged him, completely disregarding blood stains as Shino hugs him back. Letting go, Naruto just watched Hinata. Hinata slowly trudges up to the final man and looks down. But for a few minutes Hinata couldn't even move. I've accepted my fate, girl. It's time you do too, the man grunts out. Tears slowly form in the corners of her eyes as she activates her Byakugan. And the tears begin to fall as she strikes his chakra core, killing him instantly. When the man drops to the ground, Hinata follows, turning her into a bawling mess. Naruto quickly runs over to Hinata and hugs her too. She immediately latches onto his shirt and cries into his shirt. Naruto just strokes her hair, laying his head onto hers. Gathering her Genin, Kurenai sits in front of them. I understand the pain of the first kill. It feels like you have done the world's greatest crime, and it feels extremely personal. We murdered them. Hinata wails. Naruto and Shino's gaze drop to the floor at this, but Kurenai quickly jumps in. No! You did not murder them, you killed them. What's the difference? Shino asks. Murder can only be for personal gain. People murder for money or enjoyment. But killing can be for good. These men were rapists, murderers and thieves. Killing them most likely prevents other people's deaths. Remember that. Now let's go back to town. We have a job to do tomorrow. Quietly, Kurenai leads the Genin back to the town, leaving behind a clone to hide the bodies. When they arrive at the hotel, when Kurenai walks up to the attendant recognizes them immediately and asks, how many rooms do you need? No charge. Kurenai smiles. For a single rooms, please. Hinata mumbles quietly. 3. What? Kurenai asks. Hinata speaks so only Kurenai and Naruto hear. Only 3. Please don't make Naruto leave me. Kurenai nods. Okay. Turning back to the attendant, she makes a correction. Actually, please change it to 2 singles and a double. All close to each other. Right away. The attendant scuffles around looking for the keys they need. Finding 4 keys, she hands them over. Here you go. All on the 2nd floor. The double is across from the 2 singles. Kurenai takes the keys, thanks the attendant, and hands them over to her Genin. When Kurenai entered her room, she put her bag down and flopped onto her bed, staring up at the ceiling. She thought, I really hoped I handled this well. In his room, Shino silently processed what he had done, but kept remembering his sensei's words. Me killing that bandit might have prevented other people's deaths. Holding Hinata in his arms, Naruto managed to unlock the door and lock it behind them. Walking over to the bed closest to the door, he managed to take her bag off and remove the scroll from his. Tried to let Hinata down onto the bed, but she clung to him tightly. When he tried to pull away, he heard her murmur, You're warm, please don't leave me. Naruto smiled softly and tiredly, so he relented and laid next to her in the bed. Pulling the blanket over them, he hugged her close and she snuggled into his chest. The two slept peacefully in each other's arms. Next morning, Kurenai woke up staring at the ceiling. Looking over to the clock, it only said 6:17, so she doubted that any of her Genin were awake, especially because she figured that all of them took a while. Walking over to her bag, she pulls out the maps of the bandit camp to begin planning. She would wake up the Genin in a few hours. For the first hour, she debated whether or not to rescue the girl first then attack the camp, or to attack the camp first then rescue the girl in the process. Though she finally decided to rescue the girl first, Kurenai ran into another dilemma. How would they rescue the girl? Should the entire team sneak in? But that would make them easier to track. But if the whole team didn't go, who would go? She was still trying to figure it out when she heard a knock on the door. Quietly, she walked to the door and looked through the peephole. Seeing who it was, she unlocked the door to let in Hinata and Naruto. Good morning, sensei. Good morning, you two. I thought you would still be asleep. The two blushed and looked away from each other. No, we slept really well, so we woke up around 7. Kurenai smirked. So? The way Hinata clung to Naruto, they probably slept in the same bed. Seeing the maps behind her, Hinata asks, What are you doing, Kurenai-sensei? Getting a little more serious, Kurenai says, I'm planning for tonight. But I can't find a safe plan. Maybe I can help. Okay, Well, so far my plan is to send in 1 or 2 people to rescue Katsuko, but I don't know who should go among us for. Easy, me and Hinata. Hinata looked at Naruto petrified and Kurenai just raised an eyebrow. And why is that? Hinata, because she will be able to find the girl the easiest, and me because once we find the girl, I can simultaneously get her out of there, and cause a ton of havoc. Why not give your seals to someone else? Why not me and Hinata? Because I know the inner intricacies of my seals. And I can make more in seconds. If I just gave you seals you would have a limited amount. But I also have a plan that requires me to be in the center of the base. Explain. The day before we left you watched me get full control of the Suetun, Swishoha. Right. I would use the river next to the bandit camp to completely fill up one of my seals. Then once we find and free the girl, presumably in the center in the camp, I would use that water for my Suetun, Swishoha to cause disarray, and create a wave to deliver the girl straight to the edge of the camp where I would station some clones to protect her. Kurenai nods along, good plan. And when we see the wave, me and Shino would jump into action to kill any bandit we see. Right. But what about the river? What if they try to escape by swimming across it? I would station a clone there to drown any bandit that tries to cross. Also by Suetun, Swishoha? Right. Staring at the map in front of her, Kurenai smiles. That is a good plan. The two finalized a bunch of little details, but when the clock hit 9, Hinata cut in. How about we wake up Shino and inform him of our P-plan over breakfast? Naruto's stomach grumbled loudly. That sounds great. Naruto scratches his head sheepishly as the two girls tried to hold back their giggles. Team 8 was huddled together in a circle going through all their final checks. Waiting until nighttime, they were going to use the darkness to their advantage. Clones, moving into position. Naruto responded. Water seal, prepped. Communication seal, effective. Shino stated. Alright then, this is combat, so everyone removes their restriction seal. We can't be handicapped. After everyone cancels it, Kurenai nods. Hinata, Naruto, you can go. Naruto quickly applied the invisibility, noise cancelling, and seal counter seals. Over the comms, Naruto asks who can see me? While Kurenai and Shino responded negatively, Hinata was still able to see him even without the Byakugan. And without the comms, who can hear me? This time only Hinata could hear him. Alright Hinata, let's go. Though Naruto and Hinata were not visible or audible, they still kept to the shadows to avoid confrontation. Hinata activated her Byakugan and looked around and spotted a hut with a lot of prisoners. Hinata whispered, I think I found her, follow me. Still silent, they stalked over to the hut. And entered only when someone else opened the door. Inside they had found dozens of women in cages of a range of ages. All of them dressed in rags, a hollow, broken look in their eyes. Hinata became explosively angry and was about to blow their cover when Naruto quickly jumped in. Hey, don't worry, we'll save them all. But Katsuko is our main focus. Looking through the cages they found their target, so Naruto quickly applied all 3 seals and unlocked her cage. But Katsuko slightly jumped in surprise at seeing 2 new people. Who are you two? She asked, scared. Hinata softly responds, we are here to save you. Will you trust us? The girl nods hopefully. Okay. Thank you so much. Silently the 2 genin exit the tent. Naruto makes a clone that carries the little girl. Naruto takes a deep breath and asks Hinata, are you ready? Taking a deep breath of her own, Hinata responds, as ready as I'll ever be. Naruto places the seal on the floor below his feet, goes through the hand seals. Just as he finished, he stomped on the water seal, activating it, and making all the water rush out. Raising his arms, he manipulates the water to rise in a pillar all around them. Katsuko and Hinata look up at the thousands of kiloliters of water surrounding them in awe. Reaching over 50 meters in height, all the bandits looked at the water pillar in confusion. Naruto drops his arms, pointing them outward, and the pillar collapses in on itself, and rushes out in all directions. With Kurenai and Shino watching the water fall, Kurenai shouts to Shino, that's our cue. Kill any bandit you see as efficiently as possible. Shino only nods as they run into battle. With Naruto and Hinata, Naruto left a gap above their heads so that the weight of the water didn't crush them. He also made sure the water did not touch any of the prisoners in the tent behind him. But once the water was low enough, the clone holding Katsuko jumped out and ran towards the group clones made to protect her. When Naruto receives the memories of the clone meeting all the others, he shouts, I'm evaporating the water, get ready to attack. With a snap, all the water instantly evaporated, leaving behind many crushed corpses, but a few panting men attempting to regain their breath from being tossed around in the water. Naruto quickly threw kunai straight into the necks of any bandit nearby. With her Byakugan still active, she runs up to every bandit she sees close by, dodges any attack they might throw at her, then gives a quick juken strike to the chakra core. At long range, Naruto throws kunai into the head, neck, or heart of any bandit he sees. If a bandit happens to get too close to him, he electrocutes them with a Rai Tenohira. And anytime Hinata begins to get overwhelmed, he carefully throws a kunai with an explosive tag to give her some room quickly. I hope Kurenai and Shino are doing well, because me and Hinata are doing just fine, Naruto thought. They continued like this, ignoring the bodies that began to pile up around them. But as Naruto threw a kunai at another bandit a few meters away, out of the corner of his eye he saw Hinata flinch and slow down. She slowed down just enough for a bandit to get behind her, but just as the man was about to slice her head off, a well-placed shuriken killed him before he hurt her. Running over to her, Naruto asks, "What's wrong?" Hinata stares northwest, a ninja. Naruto shakes his head, "There shouldn't be any. Only bandits. Well, there is." And he looks angry because he's heading straight for us. Chakra capacity? Low Jonin, about the same Kurenai-sensei. Naruto blanched. ETA? 3 minutes. Naruto immediately called for Kurenai using the seal. "Kurenai-sensei, we need help." "What's wrong?" "Low Jonin level ninja on a warpath straight for us. ETA 3 minutes. I can't get there for at least 5 minutes. Try to hold out for as long as you can." Naruto quickly turns to a scared Hinata. "We are going to have to hold him here for at least 2 minutes. But he's a J Jonin, we are only G Genin." Naruto gives a confident smile. "Don't worry, we got this. Let's be optimistic, he might just be a Chunin with big reserves. Deactivate your Byakugan for not the next minute, but reactivate them a minute before he arrives." Quickly Naruto makes 2 shadow clones that pick up the old water seal and run off. Where are they going? "Just to get us some water for our jutsus." "Now stand up, we have to show a facade of confidence. Maybe he'll underestimate us that way." For a minute they just waited there, preparing themselves for the fight. When Hinata reactivated her Byakugan she only saw Naruto, the ninja roughly 30 seconds away, and the 2 clones just getting back from their water trip. Everyone else was dead or running towards Kurenai and Shino. Naruto motioned for his clones to hide so that they could surprise the enemy with their Suishoha. "You two caused all this?" a voice boomed. "You slaughtered my bandit camp?" A hulking man stepped out of the darkness. He was 6 feet 5 inches with bulging muscles, black hair and black eyes. Across his forehead was a Hittite with the Rock Village insignia with a scratch straight through it. His legs didn't seem to be as developed as his arms, so they hoped that was a weakness they could exploit. But then the man pointed to Naruto. You look like the Kiroi Senko." "Yellow Flash," the man seethed. "Are you related to that man?" Naruto calmly responded, "I wouldn't know, I have been an orphan since birth." The man gives a maniacal grin. "Well, I'm gonna have to kill you anyway. Just in case." The man sprints over to them and tries to smash them on the head, but the 2 genin quickly dodge to the side. However, when his fist hit the ground it makes a crater and leaves cracks in the ground. The 2 genin have the same thought. We cannot get hit by that. Hinata runs around the man and tries to close some tenketsu in his legs, but the man sweeps his left arm, forcing her to jump back and out of the way. On the other side Naruto throws a few kunai to keep distance, but the man only uses his other arm, which darkens slightly, to block his face, because when the kunai hit his arm they bounced off the darkened part harmlessly. "That won't be enough, boy." Ignoring Hinata the man charged straight to Naruto, but Naruto quickly made 3 clones. While the first 2 ran to meet the man halfway they were dispelled by a few punches. But the delay was just enough to allow the 3rd clone to begin his jutsu, Rai Tenohira. Running in, the clone tried to touch, but the man kept dodging for a few seconds until he popped it. Speeding through hand signs the man shouts, "Doton, Doryuden, Earth style, Earth Dragon Bullet." A dragon of earth emerges from the ground, opens its mouth, then shoots bullets of earth. Naruto dodged all the bullets fluidly, but then he looked behind him. The bullets were destroying anything they came in contact with. Naruto became worried. The other women, they're going to die in the crossfire. Hinata charges the man from behind, providing just enough of a distraction to sneakily make a few clones to help the women out of the cages. Signaling to his other clothes, they released the water to manipulate it. Hinata was dodging the IWA Nukenin's strikes, but unfortunately she was off balance for a split second, giving the man a chance to hit her. But just as he was about to land his strike, a dense stream of water crashed into him, toppling him to the ground and giving Hinata a chance to run away. Grouping back up, Naruto asks, "Any luck?" Hinata shakes her head. "No, he's fast, strong, and it seems that Suiton Jutsu have little to no effect. Though he seems really easy to set off balance." Note taken, but remember, looks can be deceiving. The man stood up menacingly. "You are going to pay for that, kid." Trying to stall, Naruto asks, "If you are going to kill us, can we at least know your name?" The man gives a mad grin. "Tetsudan Ryuma." Faster than before the man dashes straight to them. A clone tried using water to slow the man down, but he ran straight through it. But the momentary blindness gave the pair a chance to dodge. Naruto flew through hand seals and shouted, "Raiten, Raiten Ohira." But Ryuma smirks cockily, "That won't work if you can't get close." Giving a tired grin of his own, Naruto responds, "Not if you're drenched." Huh! Naruto places his hands on a stream of water flowing in front of him, letting the electricity flow through the water. Seeing the electrified water move towards him, the Chunin quickly jumped back, but the clone directed the water directly onto the man. Falling to the ground in extreme pain, the man seized from the amount of electricity coursing through him. Watching the man twitch uncontrollably on the ground, Naruto and Hinata thought they had a moment to breathe. He had just received the memories of the clones evacuating all the women, and was calmed by knowing they were safe. Hinata was walking over to Naruto to tell him that Kurenai was almost there when her Byakugan sensed the slightest movement and chakra use from the fried Jonin, then a dark streak heading straight for her. But for Naruto it felt as if it was all in slow motion. He saw the man stand up and take a mad dash for Hinata. "I can't let her get hit by that." Reacting solely on instinct, Naruto pumped as much chakra as he could into his legs and ran as fast as he could. With a shadow looming over her, Hinata could only close her eyes in resignation. Naruto watched as the Ryuma's fist got closer and closer, so knowing he couldn't get there fast enough, Naruto kawarimis with her, and a split second later he felt pressure on his stomach, excruciating pain, then he felt himself flying through the air, crashing through several tents, and then darkness. With Kurenai, she had finished off the last bandit, and was rushing to Naruto's last reported location. But just as she arrived, she watched Naruto being flung through buildings. Damn it! The man was about to hit Hinata too, but Kurenai zoomed through hand signs shouting, "Magen, Jubaka Satsu, demonic illusion, tree binding death." Instantly Ryuma froze, believing that he was bound by a growing tree, giving Shino just enough time to pull Hinata away. But after a second Ryuma broke through the genjutsu and glared at Kurenai, "You are the leader of these brats? I guess I'll have to kill you too." His expression morphed to a lecherous grin. "But maybe I'll have some fun with you first." Sprinting to her position, he tries to knock on her unconscious, but his arm passes right through her. Damn it, another genjutsu. Kai! Her image fades away, and when he turns around to find her, he receives a foot to the jaw, knocking him to the floor. "Damn woman!" the man screams. As he stands up, he runs through hand signs, Doton Doma. Earth style, iron skin. His skin visibly darkens, turning a steel, grayish color. Landing on the ground, Kurenai shouts, "Magen, Jigakukoka, demonic illusion, descending hell." Suddenly Ryuma felt extremely hot. Looking around, he spotted a large fireball heading straight for him. Despite his hardened skin, he was feeling the heat of the flames, so he tried dispelling the genjutsu. But it didn't work. Panting, Kurenai turns to her genin and says, "I triple layered the genjutsu. It should take him a while to realize he's not on fire. Shino, put as many bugs as you can without disrupting the genjutsu, then leave. Hinata, go check on Naruto. I can't have you two interfere in the battle." Shino raises his arms, and hundreds of bugs fly out of his sleeves. Carefully those bugs maneuver through the terrain as Ryuma flails, trying to avoid the fire that's only in his head. Attaching themselves to his skin, they slowly begin to drain his chakra. Hinata jumps through every Naruto-sized hole that she sees, trying to find where Naruto landed. Finally, going through a few buildings, she found him unconscious on top of a pile of wood. Carefully she lays him flat on the ground and activates her Byakugan. Checking his organs, she is relieved to find his heart pumping, and his lungs breathing, but she is devastated to find all his ribs broken, and his liver bleeding. Dropping to her knees, tears formed in her eyes. Dropping to the ground, she bawled over his body. Closing her eyes, she missed his ribs beginning to mend. Naruto's mindscape. Looking around, Naruto found himself in a field with a city in the distance. "Damn! He punched me into my mindscape," he said, unbelievingly. "Let's find Kurama. I'm under the tree." Naruto heard a loud growl. Rolling his eyes, he asks, "Can't you call me by my name, Kurama?" "I call you by yours." Walking up to the gigantic tree, he sees Kurama sitting in lotus position, meditating. "What do you want?" "I'm trying to heal you up right now." Naruto smiles. "Thanks. I figure if I'm here I should at least visit." "Thanks for the consideration," Kurama grunts. "But wouldn't it be better to wake up and help your team?" Naruto shakes his head. "I can't help them if I'm dead." "What's the damage?" "Broken ribs and a bruised liver." "That's bad. How fast do you think you can get me out of here?" "Few minutes maximum." Naruto smiles. "Thanks, Kurama. When I come back, we can establish that mind link as my thanks." Real world. As Naruto regained consciousness, he could feel pressure on his body. And as he opened his eyes, he saw Hinata weeping. Why did you save me?" I couldn't live if I caused you to die. I love you too much. She whimpered. Naruto moves his arm to pat her head. I couldn't either. Hinata whipped her head around to see a grinning Naruto. She hugs him tight in relief. Hey, not too tight. My ribs are healing. Hinata let go of embarrassment. Sorry. Standing up he smiles. We're going to have to talk later, but for now, let's go help Kurenai-sensei. Blushing up a storm she could only stutter, wait. However, Naruto couldn't hear her, already having run off into battle. But Hinata remained behind, catching her breath. Ryuma wiped blood from his mouth. You know, I never thought a girl would give me this much trouble. A demonic look formed in his eye. I was going to keep you alive as my personal whore, but now? Now I'm going to kill you! He made a crazed dash for Kurenai when a blonde and dark blue blur slammed into the side of his head, sending the man crashing through a wall. Flipping off of the man's head, Naruto lands carefully on the ground. Kurenai ran over to her student, Naruto. Are you okay? You should not be here. I saw you get punched through the wall. Naruto smiled. I'm doing just fine, Kurenai-sensei. Now let's take down this bastard. Kurenai shook her head. No, you need to get out of here. This is a fight between Jonin. Not gonna happen. I'm helping you take him down. She was going to continue arguing when she heard a cackle from the side. I thought I turned you to paste. It'll be fun to try again, Doton, Doriyuso, Earth-style, Earth Flow Spears. Jumping back away from the incoming spikes, Naruto asks, are you going to let me help now? Fine. Quickly Naruto forms a single seal, Kigebunshin no Jutsu. And Kurenai goes through a seal sequence of her own, Katon, Enden. Fire-style, Fire Bullet. Ryuma is forced to end his jutsu as he dodges right, away from the flame, but quickly shouted out a jutsu when he found himself surrounded by clones, lightning in their palms, Doton, Tajidoria Hiki. Earth-style, Mass Earth Walls. Breaking down the walls, the clones find that Ryuma has disappeared, so the clones tread very carefully, but one suddenly sinks to their neck. Looking to the floor, another falls to the ground, then another. Realizing what was going on, Naruto and Kurenai jump off of the ground and onto the roof of a nearby hut. Taking some kunai out of his knee pouch, he begins to wrap them in paper, watching and waiting for his enemy to appear. Jumping out from under the ground, he couldn't see anyone. But on pure instincts he quickly dodged to the left, a kunai zooming over his shoulder. Turning to face the source of the kunai, he was about to charge when he felt a stab to the stomach, heard a hiss, then something exploded right in front of. Naruto watched as his enemy was consumed by an explosion at point-blank range. I thought he would dodge the second one. I hit it with Magen, Kokoni Arezu, Demonic Illusion, False Surroundings. Naruto prepared more seals as he watched the smoke and dust fade away. And in the center was a panting Ryuma, with gray skin, and heavy burns throughout his chest. Not giving the Chunin any time to rest, Naruto threw a few shuriken to vital spots all over his body. Tiredly Ryuma dodged all the shuriken, not wanting to test how his burned skin affected his Doton, Doma. However, he was too tired to realize the wires going through the rings of the shuriken, but by the time he did it was too late, and he was wrapped in wire. Naruto sped through hand signs and shouted, Raiten, Raiten Ohira. Holding the wire in his hand, the electricity that generated in his palms to course through the wire, but this time with much more voltage. Holding the jutsu for a few seconds, Naruto wanted to make sure that Ryuma was dead. Jumping down from the hut, Kurenai walked over to the Chunin's body, kneeled, and put her fingers to his neck. Finding no pulse, she took a kunai and cut off his head. Naruto, may you please make me a storage scroll, she asked. As Naruto takes out his sealing stuff and quickly draws a seal, Kurenai burns the body, leaving the head behind. Here you go, Naruto says. Passing the scroll to his teacher, Kurenai takes it, and seals away the head, and stores the scroll in her bag. He might have a bounty. Hearing the battle end, Shino and Hinata come back to the battlefield. Tiredly Kurenai asks, are there any bandits left? Hinata pales, and no, they are all dead. Kurenai raises an eyebrow, then what's wrong? WWEK killed them all, Hinata stutters. Oh. How about we return Katsuko to her father, then we can all talk, Kurenai sighs. Naruto, take us to her. Sure, but what about the other captives? Other captives? Yes. We found her in a cage, but there were dozens of other women too. Kurenai scratches her chin. I guess we can take them to the town too, see what Lord Fukawa can do for them. Naruto nods and starts walking to an untouched portion of the forest, the rest of the team following behind. Walking up through the trees, they spotted a small clearing where there was a girl sleeping in the arms of a Naruto clone. Quietly they walked up to the clone and Naruto asked, where are the other women? Deeper into the forest. They barely chose to follow you out of the tent. They have an intense fear of men. Kurenai walked away from the group. I'll go talk to them. It's almost dawn, so we leave for the town at daybreak. The next morning everyone walked towards the town as a group. Kurenai led all the women, while the Genin were responsible for Katsuko. Though it was a little difficult because of how tired they were as the group entered the town, they caused a commotion, and when they arrived at the lord's mansion, the butler only allowed Katsuko and the shinobi in. The women were nervous, but Kurenai reassured them that they would be fine. Once again they were guided to the office. But this time when the doors slid open, Katsuko shot through the door shouting, "Papa! I miss you!" Holding her in a fierce hug, Lord Fukuwa responded, "I did too, my baby girl." "Did they hurt you? Or touch you?" The little girl shook her head. "No. After they took me away in the bag, they just left me in the cage. But the food was bad, and the people were scary." The girl looked like she was about to cry, but then she smiled brightly. "But then they saved me, and got to see that boy do cool things with water. We even surfed on a wave." "I am so sorry, Katsuko-chan. I should have done better." "It's okay, Papa. I'm okay now, the cool ninja saved me." Putting his daughter down, Lord Fukuwa turns to the ninja. "Thank you so much for rescuing my daughter. But what about the bandit camp?" Kurenai stepped forward, eliminated. "Lord Fukuwa, may I make a request?" "Of course. What do you need?" "We found many women in the bandit camp alongside your daughter. I humbly request that you accommodate them in your town. They have no place to stay." Lord Fukuwa smiles warmly. "It would be my pleasure. There is an apartment building that has not been rented out yet. We can accommodate them there." "Thank you for your kindness. Now excuse us, but my team needs their rest." Exiting the mansion, Kurenai informed the women of their new residency, then returned to the hotel with her team. The Genin were about to enter their rooms when Kurenai called out, "Before you all rest, I would like to talk to all of you." Entering Kurenai's room, they all sat down on chairs, so Kurenai began. "Last night's mission went well. I know that there were some complications, and a scare, but you all adapted well. Naruto and Hinata, your infiltration of the camp was perfect. You found our target, then swiftly and safely removed her from the battlefield. And Shino, your use of bugs helped me find and kill many bandits, even hidden ones." While her genin showed their own forms of pride and happiness, she could see how disgusted they were in their actions. "I thought that I handled your first kill, however I can see in your eye how disgusted you are by your actions." The genin's excitement died down. "We slaughtered them," Shino stated. "Without difficulties, we ended many people's lives." Kurenai sighed. "I understand. But remember what I told you the first time? We killed them not for ourselves, but to prevent another little girl being kidnapped, just like Katsuko. Don't think about the finite amount of lives that we ended, think about the countless amount of girls that we saved from ever being kidnapped by those bandits." Naruto spoke quietly. "I know that what we did was for the greater good, but it's still difficult to absorb the fact that I've already killed at least a few dozen people." "I get it. It was like this for my first kill too. When we get back to Konoha, what I want you to do is find a hobby. I don't care how weird it is, just find something to distract you from the weight on your shoulders." "Naruto, you said you liked playing shogi, right?" Yeah? Try talking to Shikamaru. I heard that he also likes shogi." "Hinata, you said you like flower pressing. Try gardening the flowers you want to press." "Shino, I know how much you love to collect bugs. Dive deeper into it. Even try breeding them." Kurenai sees her genin's pensive looks, but she can also see how distraught they still are. "I can see that you're still tired. You can go back to your rooms. We leave in the morning. 2 days later. I'm too old for this shit." "Your mission too?" The Sandaime was rubbing his head, hoping to quell his growing headache. "What went wrong in your mission?" "It went like normal. We found our target, rescued her, then continued to eliminate the bandit camp." "When?" "Eliminate?" Hiruzen turned to Iruka. "What mission did you give them?" Iruka was sweating bullets. "It should have been a simple search and rescue mission. To find a lord's daughter, Kiriko or something." "Katsuko." Kurenai sighed. "And if you read further, you would have seen that she was kidnapped, and that we were ordered to eliminate the bandits involved. Anyway, after we eliminated all the bandits, Naruto reported an incoming shinobi." "Shinobi? At a bandit camp? That's at least a B rank mission." "Yes, he seemed to be the leader of the bandits. And because we were separated, Naruto and Hinata had to fight him alone for roughly 2 minutes before I was able to arrive." Hiruzen raised an eyebrow. "Why were you separated from your genin?" "It was a battle plan we agreed upon so no bandits could escape. Until the shinobi appeared, the genin were actually doing rather well. So they have their first kill," the Hokage murmured. "Did this shinobi have a bounty?" "Yes, when we got back to the inn I checked the bingo book for Tetsudan Ryuma. He was a B rank IWA Nin, high Chunin before he turned traitor. He had a total bounty of 750,000 ryo. Here is a scroll with his head. Hiruzen scribbles something on the paper and hands the paper to her. Well done, Kurenai. Here is your reward. I didn't give the killing blow, Naruto did. Kurenai said. What? He was helping you fight the Chunin? Iruka was surprised. He gave the killing blow via one of his jutsu. The Hokage sighed. I assume everything will be in the official report? Kurenai nodded. Of course, Hokage-sama. Inform your genin that they will receive a week break. And hand that check to Naruto. Then you are dismissed. Of course. Have a nice day. I haven't been here in a while, Naruto thought as walked through the entrance of the library. But for the first time he was admitted to the ninja section. Excited for all the new books and scrolls available he walked through every aisle looking for anything of interest. But the closer he got to the end of the genin section, the more disappointed he became. His hopes for cool new techniques or awesome training methods slowly faded. Though the Shunshin body flicker looks useful, everything else here won't help me in a fight. This can't be it, Naruto thought. Slightly desperate, Naruto combed through the genin aisles one more time, attempting to find anything, but to his dismay there wasn't a single book or scroll that interested him. There is no way I'm leaving without something cool or useful, Naruto whispered to himself. Naruto walked over to the Chunin section to try and find something better, but just as he was about to look through the first aisle he felt a hand gripping his shoulder. Looking up he saw a Jonin wearing a bandana with mid-length brown hair and brown eyes, and a senbon sticking out of his mouth. Look kid, I know you're eager to learn some cool new jutsu and stuff, but you gotta learn the basics before you do anything more advanced. That's why anything you are probably looking for is here in the Chunin section. You'll get here eventually, the man said. Oh, come on, Naruto pouted. I already know kunai balancing and my chakra affinity. Besides, the best thing I could find in the genin section was the Shunshin. The man sucked in a breath. Wow, that's kinda bad. But after mulling it over, the man continued, if you know kunai balancing, I guess you'll be fine. Just don't get in over your head with high-level jutsus. Just start small and build yourself up. Thanks, mister. Naruto smiled and walked back into the aisle. It didn't even take a minute before he found something that truly interested him. Applications of chakra affinities. Pulling the book off of the shelf, he sat on the floor to read a snippet. There are 5 chakra affinities: fire, water, earth, lightning, and wind. To become a Jonin, mastery of 2 affinities is required, and while the main purpose to master affinities is to make learning jutsu easier, each affinity has a purpose beyond the accumulation of jutsu. To find these purposes, skip to the page of your affinity. Lightning, page 49. Naruto flips to said page. Lightning chakra, when flowing through one's body, can be used to increase speed, reflexes, and in extreme cases, as seen in the Reikage Raiten no Yoroi, can be used as strong armor. However, this can be very dangerous because lack of control over the flow of the lightning chakra can lead to electrocution. To avoid this, users should learn chakra flow techniques. Snapping the book shut, Naruto jumps up to find a book on chakra flow. And after reading a snippet of that book too, Naruto begins to look for jutsu. Dotun, Doriyuso? Not my affinity, Raiten, Rakurai. I'll take it, Suetun, Suedan? Kurenai-sensei is already teaching me this. Naruto had been searching for 15 minutes looking for jutsu that interested him, though most of the jutsu in the library were fire jutsu. But suddenly Naruto paused. Wait, I should find something for Hinata. Again Naruto searched the shelves looking for something that Hinata might like to learn. It took him a minute, but finally Naruto found it. Something that Hinata would love. 1 hour later. I'm home, Hinata-chan. I was at the library and I found a jutsu that you would love. Really? Hinata asks. Yup. Well, I had to check the Chunin section to find it, but here it is. Naruto hands her a scroll. Hinata opens it up. The Shosen Jutsu? Mystical palm technique. Yeah. I know you make those ointments for healing, so I thought you would love to learn some real Iryo ninjutsu. Thank you so much, Naruto-kun, though I should tell you, Kurenai-sensei stopped by earlier. Oh, what did she need? Well, first was that we have a week break from team missions and training. Great. Naruto smiled. More time to learn the jutsus I found. And second, Hinata continued, was to drop this off. Hinata slid over a slip of paper. What's this? Naruto asked, but then his eyes bulged. Whose is this, and why does it have so many zeros? It's yours, Hinata said, because you dealt the killing blow on Ryuma, you get the bounty. Well, with all this money and time on our hands, I think it is the perfect time to talk. Hinata was confused. Talk? About what? Naruto became sheepish. You said you loved me. Hinata blushed a bright red. I did. Did you really mean it, or was it the heat of the moment? Naruto asked hopefully. Hinata looked down as her blush went nuclear. I really love you. I have S since IWW was F5. Naruto widened his eyes in disbelief. Since you were 5? How did I not notice? WWLIH hit it P pretty WL. Naruto shook his head. No. Looking back it's very obvious. Hinata somehow blushed brighter in embarrassment, but Naruto still asked, why didn't you tell me? Hinata's blush faded into a reminiscent smile. UW were always S shining so B brightly. Always S smiling and always T trying your B best. Ever so C confident, no matter what you F face. I didn't T think I was W worthy enough F for you, and when I was S sealed I eep. Naruto snatched Hinata into a tight hug. What do I keep telling you? You are worthy. I am just some orphan, you were the Hyuga clan heir, I'm not good enough for you. BB but why you? Naruto held her by the shoulders. Look, I'm not the best with love, because I was never really taught what the different types were, but a dark red blush forms Naruto's face. I think you are really be beautiful and every time I see why you, my H heart starts G going CC crazy so, and maybe we can G go on a D date, or S something, so I seek an F figure out W what I F feel? Hinata was shocked. Really? Naruto tried to give a confident grin. I mean we skipped some steps, I met your parents, and we already lived together, so why not try going on a date? Hinata could only sit there in a stupor, surprised that her crush might actually love her back. However, the silence was slowly chipping away at Naruto's confidence, growing more and more unsure. After a few minutes Naruto just gave a disappointed smile. I'm sorry, I must have gotten ahead of mice. Realizing Naruto was about to rescind his offer, Hinata shouts, and oh, wow, I was really off. Naruto sighed, extremely disappointed. Yes, I mean no, you would love to get a date with you. Hinata blurted out. She lowered her head and closed her eyes in embarrassment. Really? You mean it? Hinata nodded quickly. Yes. Naruto captures her in a hug. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to take you on the best first date ever. Tea tomorrow? Too early? Naruto asked nervously. The day after tomorrow would be much better, Hinata points out with a blush. Besides, I have to buy something nice to wear. I do too, Naruto concedes. I don't have any nice clothes either. 2 days later, Naruto and Hinata agreed to use seals so they couldn't see each other until the date. He had planned this date out thoroughly, but even still he was extremely nervous. Looking at himself in the mirror, he was a white shirt, an open dark blue jacket paired with gray jeans, and dark blue sneakers. He hoped he looked good, because he never planned his outfit out this much. Watching the clock, he saw he had 2 minutes before he had to meet Hinata outside the door. Making sure everything was ready, he stepped out the door and removed the seal, allowing for the world to see him holding a daisy, Hinata's favorite flower. But when Hinata stepped out the door, it left Naruto speechless. She was wearing a beautiful lavender dress, and beige shoes to match. Blushing, Hinata asks, Do I look okay? Naruto smiles warmly. You look amazing. Naruto hands her the flower. This is for you. Hinata takes the flower with a slight blush. Thank you. Of course. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Now let's go because it's a bit far. Walking through the village, they were happily talking, though Hinata became more and more confused as they walked away from all the buildings and through a wooded path. So after about 20 minutes she asked, Naruto-kun, where are we? Almost there, just through those trees. Holding her hand, Naruto pulls her through the trees. Breaking through the tree line, Hinata gasps at the breathtaking view. From their vantage point they could see all of the village. She saw the bustling market on the left, all the clan compounds, and how different. She could even see as far as the main gate at the opposite end of the village. Where are we? Look down. Hinata's eyes widened as she realized she was standing between the giant carved heads of the Sandaime and Yondaime Hokages. Taking out a sealing scroll, Naruto unseals a blanket and a basket. Pinning the blanket to the ground with seals, Naruto pats the ground next to him. Quietly, Hinata sits down as Naruto speaks. I know I could have brought you to a fancy restaurant, but I wanted this date to be special, so I chose to bring you here. What's so special about right here? Hinata asks. Well, the truly special part doesn't happen for about an hour and a half, so I figured we could have a little picnic before I show you. Okay? Opening the basket, Naruto pulls out many different foods and drinks. I know it won't be as high quality as a restaurant, but I tried my best. Unwrapping an onigiri, she took a bite and stars shone in her eyes. What are you talking about? This is delicious. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief as he bit into his own food. Over the next hour, Naruto and Hinata laughed over the funny stories they had, conversed over the interesting things they've seen, and hugged when sometimes the experiences weren't that enjoyable to remember. But in the end they knew more about each other than ever before. Naruto was describing his most recent interaction with Konohamaru when he stopped mid-sentence and smiled. Look, he said. When she turned to look out over the village, she watched as the sunlight slowly faded from the sunset behind them, and the moon slowly rose over the forest horizon. The way the sky turned from its bright blue to a dark orange, and finally to a deep dark blue night. She watched in silence as the normal bustling of restless villagers slowly calmed down into a serene night. I wanted to bring you here because I wanted to show you the peacefulness that I want to protect. It's so beautiful. Hinata whispered. Naruto grinned. I know. This is where I come when I just need a break from the people and training and responsibilities. And I just want to watch the sky and think. It was my spot. Hinata was confused. Naruto held Hinata's hand. Yeah, now it's our spot. I love you, Hinata. Naruto looked Hinata straight in the eye, and though her blush was explosive, he pushed further. Please be my girlfriend. With an relieved and excited squeal, Hinata shouted, yes. Naruto brought Hinata into a hug. And when they stared at each other, they could only blush and smile. But in the moonlight, their mouths got closer and closer together until they kissed. It was chaste, a quick peck on the mouth. But they could tell either of them were satisfied. Returning for another kiss, this time they stayed holding each other, not caring for the lack of oxygen. They could feel the love, despite the simplicity of the kiss. Finally releasing each other so they didn't suffocate, they laid down on the blanket. Hinata's head on Naruto's chest. Staring up at the sky, Hinata murmurs, that was amazing? Naruto questioned. Perfect. She finishes. Arm in arm, Naruto and Hinata were walking towards a training ground. They had 2 days before team training began, but they were getting restless just waiting. So they decided to get in training on their own. I'm going to work on the Shunshin. What about you? Naruto asks. I will be working on the Shosen. How? There wouldn't be anyone to heal. The scroll you gave me said that I could practice on fish, so that's why we're going to the training ground by the river. Yes. Alright, so spar at 11? See you then. Hinata pecks Naruto on the cheek, then runs to the riverside. With a grin, Naruto shouts, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, with all 100 clones poofing into existence around him. You know the drill, Naruto directed. 10 of you on sealing, 10 on hand seal seeds, 10 on Suiken katas, 20 on combining the Raiken and the Suiken, and finally 25 clones each on both lightning and water affinity training. Break. Jumping away in sections, Naruto was left to his own devices. Opening the scroll, he read it through and memorized the seals. Shunshin no Jutsu, D rank, seals Tora. Description. The user disguises a quick burst of pure speed pushed to the extreme by the flow of chakra through the user's system. Closing the scroll back up, he closed his eyes and thought of the area of the forest he wanted to teleport to. Pumping chakra through his body, he focused on the details of the exact place, and the feeling of a quick burst of speed. Running through the hand seals, he shouted, Shunshin. He felt air rushing by him, but then he slammed into a tree. Slowly he peeled off and fell to the ground with a groan. Opening his eyes, he looked around to find that he did in fact Shunshin. At least I moved, but maybe next time I should try without crashing. It'll be much less painful. Getting back up, Naruto thought back to the original spot he first used the Shunshin. Again he thought of the different trees, pumped chakra through his system and shouted, Shunshin. But again he crashed into a tree. Rubbing his head, hoping to quell his growing headache, Naruto thought, maybe not so much chakra. I might be overshooting. He waited a minute for the pain to subside before he stood back up, and this time he used much less chakra as he pictured the area he wanted to teleport to. But when again he shouted, Shunshin. This time he didn't move at all. Huh! So not enough this time, he thought. He pumped more chakra in his next attempt, but this time when he shouted, Shunshin, he moved, but not as far as he would like. Over and over again he attempted to use the Shunshin without, but every time he adjusted his chakra for a new attempt it never worked out. After 15 minutes of constant trial and error, he flooded his system in chakra in rage and screamed, Shunshin. Instantly he appeared exactly where he wanted, but he retained all of his momentum, and in an instant all the anger vanished and turned into fear. He was about to crash head first into a tree faster than he had ever moved before. In an attempt to avoid any amount of head trauma, he used the chakra still flooding his system to Shunshin once again. No shout, no hand seals, just instant movement 10 meters back away from the tree, landing steady on his feet. It took Naruto a minute to calm down from the adrenaline flooding his system, before he realized what he did. I just sunshined without hand seals. Naruto calmed himself, focusing on his singular successful attempt, and the place he wanted to Shunshin to. Pumping chakra through his body, he raised a singular hand seal and whispered, Shunshin. Instantly he was transported to exactly where he wanted to, upright, and only needing to take a few extra steps to regain his balance. Big improvement. Smiling from his success, he tried again. And to his excitement he did it, getting even better. And in an attempt to replicate his earlier feat he used twice as much chakra and shouted, "Shunshin!" Few hours later, Naruto let out a big sigh. He has to remember to dodge Hinata's strikes because her shutting down his chakra points during the spar made him really sore. But it was nothing that some food didn't fix. They were on their way home from lunch when Hinata asked, "Naruto, can you teach me the shadow clone jutsu?" Thinking it over for a second, Naruto shrugged, "Sure, but I have to ask Kurenai-sensei." "Why?" "Because it requires a ton of chakra." "For example, how well can you function with only half your chakra?" "I don't know." "Why do you ask?" "Because to make a shadow clone it splits your chakra evenly between you and your clones. So one clone means you're only left with half your chakra. Is there any way to improve my chakra capacity?" Hinata asks hopefully. "Quickly?" "No. The best way is to repeatedly do chakra control exercises, and it will passively get larger, but maybe I could draw out a seal." Naruto paused and thought. "Naruto?" Hinata was concerned when he paused. "Why didn't I think of this earlier?" Naruto turned to his girlfriend. "I have an idea, so when we get home I'm going to be a little busy." Despite the confusion, Hinata continued to converse with Naruto until they opened the door to their apartment, where he sat down next to the table and began to draw a seal while she just watched from the couch. He messed up quite a few times, and every time he did he had to restart. But after 20 minutes of trial and error he was able to complete the first seal, though Naruto dove right into another. This one caused him much more trouble. Every few minutes he threw away the seal paper and restarted. She had fallen asleep when she heard a shout. Finally, "I'm done." Walking up she saw that the sun was rising. Walking into the kitchen, Hinata asked, "Have you been working all night?" Tiredly Naruto waved her over and responded, "Yeah, this seal was super complicated, so it required a ton of testing, but I did take a few naps." "What does it do?" Handing her the seal slip he said, "Don't worry about that yet. Pump chakra into this until you are at exactly half of your total chakra, though if you're about to pass out you can stop." Despite being confused, she did what Naruto asked. It took her a few minutes, but eventually she finished pumping exactly half of her chakra into the paper. When she handed the paper back to Naruto she felt drained. "In this state, do you think you could still train or fight?" "No. I'm too tired. That's why I won't teach you the shadow clone." Sticking the paper to Hinata's arm he activated it, and her chakra began to diffuse back into her system. Leaving the second seal on the table, Naruto stood up and yawned. "I would place the second seal now, but I think I should be well rested before drawing something so complex." Letting her boyfriend rest, Hinata started to get ready. She was going to visit her family today. After all, it has been months since she last saw them. Dressed in traditional Hyuga clothes, she closed the door behind her and began the trek to her clan's compound. That evening, Hinata walked through the door and smelled something amazing coming from the kitchen. "Good evening, Naruto-kun. What are you making?" "Hi, Hinata-chan. Just rice and chicken teriyaki. When I woke up I was hungry, and when I saw you weren't here I thought you'd be hungry when you came back, so I began to cook." "I am hungry, so thank you." As Naruto served Hinata her food he asked, "So where did you go today?" "I went to visit my family." Naruto sat down to eat his food. "How did that go?" "Great. Hanabi-chan was so happy to see me." "That's nice, and your father?" "He was happy to see me too. I even told Tusama about us." Naruto felt a chill go down his spine, but he kept his composure. Naruto gave a nervous smile. "How did he take it?" "Well, though he would like to see you soon." Trying to shift to a new topic, Naruto asked, "Oh, okay. By the way, should I explain to you the seal I want to place?" "Yes, please." "Okay, the seal has two main parts, the cuff and the storage chain. I designed the cuff based on a chakra restriction seal, but reworked it so that it would drain half your chakra. The cuff also contains a regulator so that you can retain half your chakra and for it to increase as your capacity increases as well. This should increase your reserves by tricking your body into believing that it's not producing enough chakra, thus forcing your body to develop larger coils." Slightly nervous, Hinata asked, "Is it safe?" "Without a doubt. However, the second part, the storage chain, goes down your forearm. All the chakra being drained from your system has to go somewhere, so I figure that in a battle situation you should be able to release the seal and regain your full reserves. So the storage chain is to store all the chakra being drained by the cuff so that if in battle you run low on chakra, you may refill your reserves." "How fast would this improve my chakra capacity?" Scratching his chin, Naruto attempted to do the math. "Well, the larger your reserves are, the less effective this seal will be, so your current reserves should be doubled within 2 months, give or take, and tripled in 6. Finishing up her food, Hinata asks, "When will you place the seal?" "After dinner if you want." Hinata smiled, "The sooner the better." 1 month after Team 8's break from missions, the Genin were waiting in training ground 8, confused and worried because for the first time, their sensei was late. "Do you think Kurenai-sensei is okay?" Hinata asked. "Oh, she's fine. She probably woke up late or something. Actually, it is more probable that she is being held back by some sort of interaction." Shino pushed up his glasses. "Yeah, that might be it too." They continued talking over it until in a swirl of leaves Kurenai appeared. "I'm sorry I'm late. I had a meeting and it ran long," she sighed. "It's okay," Hinata replied. "Actually, the meeting concerned you all. I have nominated you all to participate in the upcoming Chunin exams." Kurenai handed out some papers. Naruto grinned. "Awesome. It's the next step to becoming Hokage. It is also a necessary step in becoming a clan head," Shino admits. "And I will get to show my clan how strong I am," Hinata says excitedly. Kurenai smiles. "Sign these forms by next week. You have to turn them in on exam day." "It's next week in the academy, room 301. Slightly concerned, Hinata asks, "Are you sure we are ready? I believe you all have the skills required to become Chunin, and though you may not have the experience, the only way to build that is to actually experience things, so I signed you up. You may not pass or become Chunin, but it will still help you grow." Hinata nodded. "Makes sense. Sure, now start training. We're still training all week up until the last day so you can rest and prepare." Hi! Next week, Naruto and Hinata were on their way to the academy, ready for their exams. But on the way they heard a cry for help. But running over they saw 2 girls, one with a fan on her back and the other wearing a catsuit and holding a boy by the collar. "Hey girl! Put the kid down!" Naruto shouted. The girl in the catsuit shouted, "I'm not a girl." Taking a closer look, Hinata asks, "Then why are you wearing makeup?" "It's not makeup, it's war paint." "Sure lady," Naruto dismisses. "But I'm pretty sure the 3rd Hokage won't appreciate some Sunanin beating up his grandson." "I am a boy." The boy seethed angrily. However, he did put down the boy. "You okay, Konohamaru?" Naruto asked. The boy gave a nervous smile. "Sure boss. I'm just gonna get out of here." The boy sprinted as far as he could. "Now do you 3 want to explain why you're here bullying a kid instead of on your way to the Chunin exams?" The 2 Sunanin paled. "3? Hinata nodded. "There's another of you up in the trees." Jumping down from the tree, a boy with red hair and a gourd on his back faces his teammates. "You 2 are an embarrassment. Let's go." The other 2 Sunanin nod and walk behind the boy. "Okay, Gaara." Following their example, Naruto and Hinata walk away, having to meet up with Shino before they get to the Chunin exams. However, after talking a few steps they hear a shout, "You! What's your name?" Turning around they see Gaara staring. "Uzumaki Naruto." "And yours?" "Sabaku no Gaara." He seethes and clutches his head. "During the exams, mother will have your blood." And without another word the 3 Sunanin walk away, the first 2 following after the red-haired boy. Naruto rolls his eyes in slight concern but just turns to Hinata and says, "We have to go too or we're going to be late meeting Shino." "Right." Walking down the street, Naruto heard a voice in his head. "I sensed my brother in that boy." "Your brother?" Naruto asked. "Shikaku, the one-tailed tanuki," Kurama responded. "His Jinchuriki seemed unstable. They tend to be. You should watch out for him." "Thanks, Kurama." With only an hour before the test starts, the 2 walk a few blocks before they run into Shino. They confirm with each other that they have anything they might need, remove all their restrictive seals, then walk the remaining few blocks to get to the academy. Walking up the stairs they spot a large crowd surrounding 2 larger ninja. However, completely ignoring the complaining Genin, they sneak past to get to the stairs. They all knew they had only gone up 1 flight of stairs, so the room 301 that everyone else was gathered around had to be fake. However, they did not want to draw the attention of the other Genin, and give them some help. But as they sneaked past the cluster, Hinata saw someone she recognized. "Niji?" Turning, Hinata weaved through the crowd towards the person she had saw, another Hyuga. Tapping his shoulder she whispered, "This is not the actual exam room. We are only on the 2nd floor." The boy rolled his eyes and walked out from the crowd. "I know, Hinata-san, this is an act so that my team seems weaker than we are." Following their teammate out of the crowd, the girl seemed angry. "What the heck, Niji? You blew our cover." "I apologize, my failure cousin decided to intervene." Niji scoffed. Naruto stepped in to defend his girlfriend. "Hey! She's not a failure. And because you're family, maybe you shouldn't call her that." A boy beside them in green spandex shouted, "That was very unyouthful, Niji-san." Niji rolls his eyes. "She is a Hyuga who is terrible at the Jukin. She is so terrible at the Jukin they moved her to the branch house." But alas, it was fate. Barely containing his rage, Naruto seethed. "Look, I would love to go into all the reasons why Hinata-chan is amazing and strong, and why you are such an ignorant prick with a 10-foot pole up your ass. However, we all have a test to get to. Turning away, he walks away and up the stairs, Shino and Hinata following closely behind. They were walking towards the doors of the exam room, but Naruto turned to his teammates for one last checkup. But he turned to see Hinata sad and slightly disappointed with her conversation with Niji. She had hoped that when she moved to the branch house she would have the opportunity to reconnect with her cousin. Holding Hinata by the shoulders, Naruto says, "You are not a failure, no matter what that prick says. You are so strong, and it may not be in the traditional Hyuga way, but you are still strong. So cheer up, because we are about to destroy those exams. Because me, you, and Shino are the strongest genin here." Hinata gives a light smile. "You are really good at motivational speeches." Naruto gives a light peck on Hinata's forehead. "I try. Now let's get in there and kick some butt." Turning to Shino, they nod to each other and confidently walk through the double doors. Inside they saw over 100 genin from a multitude of different villages, and yet Team 8 kept their confident looks. However, they still didn't want to gather too much attention, so they walked to the side. They had been waiting for roughly 30 minutes for the test to start when they heard the screech of, "Sasuke-kun, you're here." Looking over, teammates saw Yamanaka Ino and Hareno Sakura doing everything they could to draw the attention of their beloved Uchiha Sasuke. However, they were simultaneously drawing the attention of everyone else in the room. Hinata was about to walk over and say hello when Naruto held her back by the shoulder. She looked at him confused, but he just shook his head and Shino spoke up. "It is beneficial for us to draw the least amount of attention." Understanding her teammate's point, she stood back next to Naruto, just leaning on his shoulder, but, unfortunately for them, Kiba spotted them. He waved and shouted, "Hey Hinata, you're here too?" Naruto instantly palmed his face, and while Shino's expression made no major change, he was just as upset. Hinata began to get a little nervous, now that she was the center of attention. "Hello Kiba-san." As teammate walks towards their former classmates, one of them drones, "So all the rookies are here. How troublesome." Again Naruto palms his forehead again, and Shino's eyebrows begin to twitch. "You know Shikamaru, for a Narai you make some dumb decisions. Maybe this is how I manage to keep putting you in a stalemate when we play shogi." Shikamaru rolls his eyes. "No, your troublesome strategies are just too hard to predict and counter. Besides, I didn't say anything dumb." To this Ino and Choji looked shocked. Not even their sensei managed to get Shikamaru to stalemate. "Actually you did." The rookie 9 quickly turned to the new voice. It was a young man roughly in his late teens, a Konoha nin. He had gray hair, circle glasses, and black eyes. He wore a purple outfit with bandages tied around his waist. "You informed every other competitor here that you all are rookie genin, making you a target for all of them," the man said. "Troublesome, I knew I shouldn't have come." "Why are you telling us this?" Shikamaru asks. Kabuto gives a kind smile. "Seeing as we are fellow Konoha nin and that you have all been given such a disadvantage." The rookie 9 glared at Shikamaru at this. "I feel it is my responsibility to at least give you some advice." Kabuto takes out a stack of cards from his kunai pouch and says, "These are my ninja info cards. They have information stored on every shinobi here for the exams. If there is anyone you would want information on, I will provide it." "Rock Lee of Konoha," Sasuke spoke up. Naruto follows with, "Sabaka no Gara." "Ah, that's no fun, you already know their names." Kabuto fake pouts as he swipes 2 cards from his deck. "Well, first is Rock Lee. He is a genin who is about a year older than all of you. He is a part of Team Guy with teammates Hyuga Niji and Higurashi Tenten led by Mato Guy. His taijutsu has improved explosively over the past year since becoming a genin, however all of his other attributes are atrocious, his ninjutsu being especially bad. He has 20 D ranks and 11 C rank missions on his record." The image on the card displayed an image of Rock Lee. It had been the boy in the green spandex they had met earlier. Off to the side, Sasuke seemed to be deep in thought. Inserting chakra into the second card, Kabuto continues talking. "Sabaka no Gara is from Sunagakure, a fresh genin just like you. His abilities are all completely unknown, but what's surprising is that he comes back from all of his missions, 8 C ranks and even a B rank, without a scratch." While most of the rookie 9 adopted looks of complete disbelief, Naruto squinted in suspicion. But after Kabuto put the cards away, Kabuto asked, "Is there any other information you might need?" Naruto was about to ask a question when a voice boomed, "Welcome genin to the first test of the genin exams. Please turn in your exam forms at the front to receive your seat number." Looking around they saw Konoha Chunins and Jonins along the walls of the room. It took some time, but after about 10 minutes every genin had received their seat number. Soon after, the Konoha nin along the wall began to distribute a paper as a man at the front began to explain. "My name is Marino Ibiki and the first test of the Chunin exams is a written evaluation. There are 9 questions, however you will receive a 10th at the 45-minute mark. Each question is worth 1 point, and each team needs 20 to pass. However, if even one teammate gets 0 points, the entire team fails. If at any point you are caught cheating, 2 points will be deducted from your score. Therefore, if you are caught 5 times, you and your team immediately fails. You have 45 minutes until the final question. You may begin. Everyone flipped over the question. And slowly Naruto's confidence in his own intelligence slowly dimmed. The first question was calculus, the second was advanced physics, and the third was a cryptogram. Each question was more and more complicated than the last. This can't be it. I don't know how to answer any of these, Naruto thought. He was going to look around when he thought, wait, I can't cheat or I'll. In that instant Naruto came to a realization, I have to cheat. That's why we only lose 2 points every time they catch us cheating. First step, finding who to cheat off of. Discreetly looking around, he tried finding someone who would give him the correct answers. It took Naruto a minute, but eventually he found someone who was filling out the exam way too quickly for a supposedly struggling Genin, but what clued him in was what seemed to be an imprint of a flak jacket on the Genin's shirt. Next Naruto flipped over his paper, infused his pen with chakra, then began to draw all over the back of it. He was drawing when suddenly a kunai was past his ear. Examinee 79, you have been caught cheating, therefore you and your teammates have failed. Leave or we will remove you. Turning to face the failed Genin, he watched as the failed Genin was carried out of the room despite all of his desperate cries. Returning to his paper, he continued to draw all over the back of the paper, designing a seal. And when there was only 5 minutes before the 10th question, Naruto activated it. Suddenly smoke exploded from his seal, too fast for anyone else to discover its source. And there was so much it was hard for anyone to see. So using the cover, he activated a second seal to make both seals fade away and quickly swapped papers with the undercover, Chunin, erasing the other shinobi's name and replacing it with his own. The smoke cleared quickly, but it was enough time for Naruto to get his answers, confident that he would pass this test. Time for the last question, Genin, Ibiki Marino shouted. However, there are some additional rules for this question. If you take the next question and get it wrong, you will be banned from ever taking another Chunin exam ever again. So you will be allowed to leave now. However, if one person leaves, the entire team fails. That's not fair, Kiba cried. You can leave if you don't like it, Ibiki responded. This immediately shut Kiba up, but many others were discouraged by the price of failure. Many hands went up and many teams began to exit. Slowly the numbers dwindled, but what troubled Naruto was that he could see Hinata getting nervous, ready to give up. Before inspiring her to stay, he let the crowd thin out as much as possible, but just before she raised her hand, Naruto shouted, Are you done with your mind games? You don't even have the power to ban us from becoming Chunin. Besides, it's been 10 minutes, are you ever going to give us the question? Ibiki immediately snapped to Naruto, so you are okay with failing? Yeah, Naruto shrugged, I can still accomplish my dreams as a Genin. So are you going to give us the question or not? Though Naruto was staring down the Proctor out of the corner of his eyes, he was happy to see Hinata's hands slowly go back down, and a smile slowly spread across Ibiki's lips. No one else? Seeing the Genin's resolve, Ibiki continued, Well, for everyone who stayed, you passed. There was a long silence after that statement, so Naruto asked, We passed? Ibiki nodded, You all pass. When you become Chunin, you will receive some risky missions, and you are not allowed to turn them down just because of some risk. Then what was the point of the first 9 questions? A random Genin asked. The Proctor removed the bandana covering his head and continued, Information gathering. Sometimes information is so important for your village that you will need to get it at all costs. So you all need to know how to gather said information. Ibiki takes a second to retie this bandana, then continues, However, wrong information is just as dangerous as no information, so be warned, make sure that your source is veritable. Ibiki was going to continue, but at that moment something crashed through the window and pinged him behind a banner that read, I am your sexy and single-second Proctor, Mitarashi Anko. Standing in front of said banner was a purple-haired woman wearing a trench coat, a fishnet shirt and a short brown skirt. Hello, little Genin, I am your next Proctor. She paused to scan the room, then asked, 78 Genin? You let this many pass, Ibiki? You're really losing your touch. Emerging from behind the banner, Ibiki growled, You're early, Anko. Besides, there's some good Genin this year. She rolls her eyes, Yes, sure, Ibiki. At least half of them will fail my exam. Then facing the Genin she barked, Meet me at the 44th training ground by noon. If you're late, you fail. And with that she shined out of the room.